Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Triggering Chaos. Today, we have a special guest with us. I'm your host, Soul.
Is it me?
No, it's not UM. It's this
I
lovely
want a
lady.
special guest.
Say hi, special lady.
I'm back, baby.
It's
Yay.
Nemesis.
Yep.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Once again, we're here to ramble about one of our favorite games.
Indeed. I promise this
So,
won't take 4 hours, I hope.
Yes. Also, prepare for spoilers. Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Lots of
alert. Spoiler
spoilers.
alert. If you have not finished Endwalker, get the bleep out. Otherwise, you can't blame us.
No, you cannot.
Well, they can, but they'll be wrong.
Wow. Soul being right for once.
It happens from time to time, thank you. But
All right.
You're welcome.
yeah, we will be talking about the latest expansion. About how long until Dawn Trail now?
Right now, it is, well, technically, it's a whole month. So 29 days for the public release, but comes at the 28th for us because we pre-ordered it. So just about 25 days.
Yeah, so that'll give you an idea about when we recorded this anyway.
Yes. Happy Pride Month, everyone, as well.
Indeed.
Happy Mental Health Month. And good luck to Team Fortress 2 players trying to save Team Fortress 2 again.
What happened this time?
Oh, they're doing another massive push to get the bots taken care of.
Ah.
June 3rd, save Team Fortress 2 again. Anyway, so we've all been playing 14 for years now.
God, I feel
God,
old.
it's been years. And they have finished up their 10-year, well, technically you could argue 12-year-long storyline.
Yeah, let's not get into the first launch of this because I think we'll still be there for another 8 hours.
I don't know, those flower pots were pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah. From A Realm Reborn to Heavensward to Stormblood to Shadowbringers to Endwalker has been one overarching story of two gods facing off each other. And with Endwalker, we have ended that story, saved the world, and no, for the last time, People 14's not over. They just wanted to say this storyline's over. Endwalker is not the end. People still keep going. I thought it was over.
Look, I'm just going to say thank Jesus that we're done with them, or done with the Asians. I'm sorry. As much as I like their characters, we have been dealing with them for those 10 years.
That is longer than some TV shows have dealt with single antagonists. Yes. Like,
True.
it was getting to the point where now they were not so much of a big deal to us. In Shadowbringers, we were literally able to finally defeat, but our friends could defeat them when before only chosen people could.
Yeah, and it's just like
Killing was not in their favor.
I mean, the other problem was like, oh, something big is happening. It's the Asians. It's the Asians. Oh no, another thing's happening. It's the Asians.
See, before we had it's the Elegans or the Asians. Then we found out, oh, the Asians made the Elegans. So even when it was the Asians, it was the Elegans, it was the Asians all along.
Yeah, especially with that guy in the center there. Gonna have to step in extra.
Actually, you could really blame the guy on the far right the most.
I'll have
He
both.
He just needs a hug.
I think he needs more than a hug. I think he needs a hug, some warm cocoa, and to sit down at a shrink's chair in a padded cell. Preferably not in Arkham, but in an asylum.
I don't think there's a shrink alive that wants to deal with that.
No, I think Harley would.
I'll get Harley.
But yes. Now, getting it right at the front of the gate, the three of us really liked Endwalker. It lived up to my hype. Did it live up to your hype, Soul?
Well, here's
a simple yes or no is all I'm looking for because we have a co-host.
Okay, so for the most part, yes.
Yes, it lived up to my hype.
Yes. Was it perfect? Fuck no. We didn't expect perfect. We expected a damn good story, and it delivered that. Now, to be fair, none of us are Savage players, Ultimate players. We're not that big on the field exploring modes like Bozja and Eureka. We are primarily story players. And we do sometimes like the solo content. So we were happy with a lot of this stuff. A lot of the naysay with Endwalker ended up being the story was good, but I wanted big, hard content. Most of the fan base didn't. No, I understand if that's what you play the game for and you didn't get. Feel free to complain. That's a fair complaint. But a lot of doomsayers came from Endwalker for a bit, which honestly feels like they missed the story of Endwalker.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's the
Yeah.
But
thing.
then again,
Yeah.
With
to be fair, there's a lot of people that just skip the story too, which
Yeah.
I don't understand. But
I like the content. I like the fights in this game, but they're just the cherry on top of this sundae that is this story and character beats.
Well, here's the thing. With the way they've been working on this game and how probably none of them have slept and God knows how long properly, especially OCP, man, that guy needs a bed and a half.
And just needs to be put into one of those capsule hotels and just left alone for a month.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It feels like
But
Okay.
it feels like he loves us too much to like. He worried the second he takes a nap, we're all gonna get into trouble without him.
Well, are we already?
Kinda, yeah.
but Dad,
With the production value, I'm impressed that everything has stayed to a very good standard. I'm not gonna say the highest standard ever,
No,
but
and to be fair, it has got a bit formulaic of how each patch works and how each expansion has a few changes, but it's not that big. Like the beats do feel the same in terms of gameplay, so that's a fair complaint. But they are consistently pushing this game out constantly.
yeah.
Like a lot of MMOs will release their big expansion and not touch the game until next expansion, and they are like, why would we do that?
Plus, they're also
We have a-
listening to the fans and fixing bugs and adding small content here and there. So they're
Yeah,
doing a
see,
lot with the game, even in the technical off season of the expansion.
Yeah, they're even doing a lot of work now with the expansion coming out very shortly. They're quadruple checking it, and people complained, "Hey Yoshi P, this benchmark doesn't have a very good character creator." Oh shit, we made this character creator back for the PlayStation 3 for A Realm Reborn. We haven't updated for years. We should drop everything and do that right now. Okay. What should we release it after Dontrell? No, now. Dontrell's in like 5 weeks. We release it in 2.
Yeah, here's
What?
the thing. M showed me the benchmark because he was able to play with it a little
screen
bit.
share with you.
And from what I saw, and this was going through Discord and a cut down to like 420 or 720p, whatever the hell that was cut down to when sharing on
Yeah.
Discord. And it still looked amazing to me.
Yeah. But
So-
apparently, Lalafell teeth was creepy. Like they looked like adult human dentures put in a child's mouth.
Look, I'm just going to be honest. Lalafells in general creep me out, so.
Some Makote and I think Aura heads would literally show you the net gap, so you could look through their character models.
Well, that just sounds like
I
fun.
I didn't. Yeah, that so I cannot. The thing is, people got so attached to their 14 characters that Yoshi P immediately realized if we don't make them pretty, people will riot.
Well,
and,
they're already
well,
pretty.
We're using our characters as our icons this episode, and yeah, we bought art of our characters multiple times, and we will do it again because we've gotten attached to them. And that's the thing about 14 that why this game is going to last another 10 years, I guarantee, is even when it gets technically really old, the memories will not, and we are so attached to that we will not want this world to end. And then we will start sacrificing people to keep the world alive.
so watch out.
Wait, no, that sounds like something that was already done.
Well, let's talk about our crew here because we got a good majority of people that we'll be interacting with throughout Endwalker right here.
Yep. So the characters in the front are the Scions. We have been traveling with them for years with 2 new additions to this expansion, basically. Well, one joined last expansion, but he really got to shine this expansion.
Mm-hmm.
But from the left, we have basically the current leader of the Scions, Alphino Levior, or as we all refer to him, Elfie Bro,
Happy bro.
who Alphino, I think, is the peak character of showing how much character growth has happened between a Realm Reborn to Endwalker. Because if a
Indeed.
Realm Reborn Alphino walked up to Endwalker Alphino, the two of them would hate each other. I guarantee
Yeah,
it.
and I'm willing to bet that wouldn't end well for Alfie, bro.
No. Now, that's not to say every character has massive growth. The next character on the to the right is Urianger.
I think
He's not changed much, but he's a grown adult. I don't think there's much left for him to really grow into.
No, but
He's just learned to express himself better, and also he's guilty of the most tear-inducing scene in Endwalker, if you ask me and them.
amen.
Mhm.
That was a
Mhm.
tearjerker.
We literally had to call it a break after that cutscene.
Yep.
Yeah,
When
that was
basically
just.
his in-laws say it's okay to grieve about their lost loved one, and everyone cried. Nem and I cried. Saul and CK were in the background going like, "This is really emotional," and these two are crying really loudly in the microphone.
I won't deny
And
it.
fuck you guys. I fucking love that scene, but fuck you.
Mhm.
It's
Like,
emotional damage.
that was always like an option for how that scene was going to happen. I thought it was going to be the other option, but the way they played that scene was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Extremely healthily too. Like, jeez, I wish more people got that kind of reaction after a tragic loss.
And I loved Urianger admitting that he just didn't have the words to literally say his feelings about the whole thing.
Which really speaks to him as a character, as he's a very verbose character who literally is walking around in Shakespearean time while nobody else is.
Yep.
Mhm.
So he says, went over all the birds I could find, and you could believe that this man would have spent like a good month after Moonbreeda's death reading every book he can about how to grieve, and he's just like, "No, that doesn't fit it. Now that's close, but no, that word doesn't work." When was the last time I slept? And overall, he just stays a good member of the team. He learned from a few of his mistakes, but overall, his character does not change. His behavior is still the same. He's still very much the least sociable member of the group.
And
But it doesn't feel like he's antisocial. It just feels like he has no idea how to interact without a book in hand.
I think,
Which I don't mean that in the spectrum sense. I just mean he's never bothered to learn social interactions.
and as it was pointed out a lot of times, at the beginning, with the Scions being such a small group and the Empire being a looming threat, their biggest strength was actually secrecy.
Yeah, it was.
And he was very good with that, about keeping secrets and doing what must be done in order to try and help out the people.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to lie to friends, to allies, to anybody if it meant giving the heroes a slight tactical advantage. I'm pretty sure the dude would hide chess pieces in the middle of a match in front of someone if it meant someone could survive.
And
but it can lead to you not ever trusting the guy, and he admits that that's okay. You don't have to. I will do what I can to be by your side, but you don't have to forgive me. I like that about him.
It's like, this would be a time when a more, I want to say, traditional game would try and redeem that and make it so you have to forgive him.
Yeah.
But
most of the fan base has forgiven him, but that's because he's done small actions down the road.
Yeah. But in this one, oh, go ahead, Em.
This is one of those things where, like Em said earlier, we are totally bonded to our characters and we've kind of given our characters their own personalities and such. So it's like role playing within the world that's been created.
Yes.
My character despises him. She will never forgive him. I, on the other hand, understand why he's done what he's done, and I don't hate his character.
Mm-hmm.
But my little all raw there, no thank you.
Yeah. The next character to the right is Thancred Waters, who a good part of the fan thought Thancred was going to die in Endwalker because his character's done. He's had his massive character growth in Shadowbringers. He's got no reason to stick around anymore. He's the one who's going to die.
He's even got a daughter to replace him.
That is not Thancred's style.
Dad crid. Yeah.
No, in fact, they turned his massive character growth from Shadowbringers into the reason why he's going to stay alive, because he needs to rejoin with his daughter someday. That is his
Mhm.
motivation. He is a world away from his daughter, and he still goes, no, she is the most important thing in my life. I know she's okay. She's growing up on her own, but I'm going to stop this apocalypse so that she can have a fucking future. Get out of my way. Dad Crit has to save the day.
I think that's also one of the things that also helped Oriange, is because the two of them kind of took in that little girl,
Yeah,
and
we joke Mommy Ange, but really, it's more Thancred's story. Oriange just feels more like the really cool uncle.
yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I think that helped them both in a way, in different ways, but it
Yeah,
still helped them.
it more than anything else gave Thancred a friend in Oriange, because they're now hanging out more together, even though before they would not. Despite the fact that originally Thancred was a rogue, although he called himself a bard, these were the two secretive members. But Urianger was the verbose, I'm going to tell lies kind of secrets. And Thancred was the guy who would sneak up behind you and, pickpocket you, learn all your secrets, and then leave without you knowing he was in the room.
Yep.
Looking at you, Nem.
Which,
Hey,
yeah,
that's me.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, Thancred is just really good in Endwalker. I feel like I will agree with the fan base that Shadowbringers was peak Thancred. His best parts in the story are from Shadowbringers.
Yep.
Just see his reaction to Emmett Sulk when he gets wrecked. Tika is just peak Thancred for me.
I will say this
The
though,
best.
I hate his teacher, because that puzzle
That's a
quest
side
was a
quest.
pain in the ass.
Yeah, that made no fucking sense. And it's one of those quests that live with you forever.
Do you hate him because the side quest was annoying, or do you hate him because he
That's
taught
the annoying
Thancred too
part.
well?
Side quest was annoying.
Fair enough. So, next we'll talk about, generally, I want to say 80% of the fan base's favorite character.
I'll go with
Y'shtola
90%.
No, it's 80% her, and the other 20% is two characters down. Although that 20% is rapidly growing.
Yeah.
But yes, Y'shtola is also one of the characters who has very little character growth. In fact, a lot of people are complaining that she has no character growth, but honestly, her character growth is her slowly turning into her mentor, and she's aware of it and fucking hates it.
This is a weird thing to say, but sometimes characters don't need character growth.
No, I like Y'shtola being the basically mother/grandmother figure of the Scions, being the one to be like, you're all a bunch of fucking idiots at times.
Well,
But
I
also,
Aunt.
yeah, she's the vodka aunt. She's the
Well,
wine mom.
to me it feels
She's,
like
Y'shtola only has one interest, and that's learning. And anytime anyone is doing something stupid, it means she can't learn. This includes ending the world. So she's going to end that shit so she can go back to research.
Well, here's the thing. It feels like to me it's not as huge of a character growth as, say, Alphino and Alice, but it's a subtle growth. She starts out more interested in she still cares about people, but she starts out kind of feeling more like she's more intertwined with the mission of the Scions.
Yeah, at Realm Reborn, Y'shtola feels like she thinks she's the only sane woman in the room. Now she feels like she's a little bit as crazy as these people around her.
And it feels like she relies on the others a little bit more as well.
Yes.
Because you've grown and worked together, she has grown to understand that you are someone that she can rely on along with the other Scions.
Yep.
So it's subtle, but there's still character growth. And that's kind of one of the things that Yoshi P and the others have really brought out, is that not all growth is so obvious.
No. And lots of people, when they become an adult, are pretty much set in their ways. Everyone continues to grow forever, but we sometimes plant our feet down and just don't want to move. Next, we'll talk about Alice, or Alices, who is the second most grown character, but I like to think that rather than grow maturely, she's grown slightly a bit more bloodthirsty.
I'm still blaming them for that one.
I love her for that. I adore her for that. Because she starts off with Alphino, both of them wanting to be like Grandpa, but Alphino wants to do the grand speeches. Alice thinks Grandpa was good at magic and he got people's attention that way, so action it is. And Endwalker really shows that she's realized, I'm not as smart as my brother. So I'm going to be the one who makes sure that he never falls down, and if anyone gets in his way, get ready for a limit break to the face.
Yep.
Yeah, she is really bloodthirsty for those limit breaks.
That
Yes.
was my character growth, watching Alice's use the limit break as soon as that bar was full. Be like Alice's.
Okay, I honestly forget, before she became a red mage, was she a summoner or something? Or
Arcanist.
Arcanist,
technically.
okay.
But we rarely ever saw her do any Arcanist stuff. When she
Unlike
and Alphino
Alphino.
were... Alphino was Arcanist for the entire time, leaning
Mhm.
more towards unique scholar, but not actually scholar. We've never seen her summon a Carbuncle, which makes me think she was an Arcanist who never managed to get the hang of that trick. Or felt it was in it, like, she felt like, why would I summon that when I could do more damage myself?
Why would I summon that when
But-
I could just smack the guy with the book?
Basically, yes. She's the mage who was always in melee range. So in the between incantations, she'd bonk you with a book, and now she will just stab you while casting magic, like, set you on fire or rip out your intestines.
Why not both?
I'm gonna go for the intestines and then set your innards on fire.
I want to use your intestines as a fuse, because I tied a bomb to you.
Not really how her magic works, but okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, she doesn't have as much growth as Elfino anymore. Like, Elfino is still kind of progressing, but the scene of the two of them locked away with bombs on their throats is really cute.
I think
I know that sounds weird, but it was. It was just a heart-to-heart. Like, Alice is not a very expressive character about her emotions, so having no choice but to be locked up with her brother was the good chance she needed to admit that I might never be as smart as you, I might never be as politically minded as you, but I'm your number one backup.
I think when it came to Alice, is her character growth was really well done in the previous expansions, and this is more her trying to find her spot with how she is, with where she wants to be.
A very fair thing to try and find out with yourself.
Because you can grow.
Alphino, the difference between her and Alphino and Alice is Alphino knows where he's going to be. He knows what he wants to be. He just doesn't really know how to get there. Alice knows how to get there. She's just like, what am I? I have all the tools to get where I want to be, but where do I want to be? And they can both look at each other going, I wish I had that in you. And also, my only complaint about Endwalker and these two is there's not as many funny scenes with them as there was in Shadowbringers.
Well, at least we got to take
my childhood.
At least we got to take them for their walkies.
Yes.
Which we'll talk.
The next character we're going to talk about, unfortunately, is a beloved character that the three of us can't fucking stomach. Tataru. She is the Scion's penny pincher. I mean bank account. I mean bankier, whatever. Look, a lot of people love her and think she's a great character and think she's funny and think she's supplying us with so many great things. I can only ever, when I think of her that time she dragged us into a room, had us apparently strip and get measured against our wills. Our characters literally all say it was a really, really uncomfortable situation. And then she loses control of a carbuncle and got us killed when we were trying to do the Four Lords. I will never forget that. And she's just, people find her cute.
Look, I will say this. She has a few scenes where anything she says makes sense. Like when we were buying Gotetsu's sword. That
actually, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
It really doesn't, because it's Alphino's money.
Well, yeah. The Scions get money from Alphino's mom. Alphino is allowed to do with that money as will. We don't have time to haggle for that sword. We know how important a katana is to a samurai. This guy knows that as well, so he's probably never going to haggle with us. And Yugiri was also going to try and buy the sword with Doman refugee funds, which Heian would have agreed with, which would have been a stupid move. So essentially, Alphino did the correct thing, the smart thing, the friendship thing, and then gets chewed out despite the fact that it was his own money.
And
that is where Nem lost Tataru.
No, I lost Totoro at Horshafont's funeral.
Yeah, I think that's where all of us agree we lost her.
Yes.
We're at the funeral. Yeah, we were at a funeral for a beloved character, a beloved friend, a character that, again, because we've given our characters personalities and backstories and such to make the game more ours, a
yeah.
character that is incredibly important to M's character. We're at that funeral, and her first thought is, how can we make money off of this?
No, her first thought is, all right, we need to find all the friends we're missing. In order to do that, we'll need lots of money. And kick off that cliff.
Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
first part was fine until she had to bring in the money.
Her reason for making the money is to find the scions who are missing at the time. No, it isn't, because every one of the scions we find, financial backing is not how we find them, or
No,
was
not at
ever
all.
going to be how we find them.
And
Because a
okay,
lot
so if you look at it from that angle, okay, that's a good reason to want to raise money. Time and place, you little
Exactly.
pink, you little pink.
That's the majority of her problem, is that she doesn't understand time and place.
I refer to her as the pink penny pincher, and every time I talk about her, because A, I don't want to learn her to spell her name, and B, her name is hard for me to spell. But yes, her saying, let's find the other scions, as a triumphant way of trying to end a funeral, makes sense. But then she keeps talking.
Mm-hmm.
And people find that, oh, Tataru, you're so funny, you can't read the room. No, in my situation is, you ruined a fucking funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, getting on to better characters, we have Graha Tia, Nem's favorite character. And quickly becoming a lot of people's favorite character, and for good goddamn reasons. He is so fun to be around. I do know a few people who find him a bit annoying as well because he's too energetic.
Well,
Too much of a fanboy.
given what he's gone through, I kind of go half and half with that.
Yeah. He also could learn time and place a bit better, but it's never along the lines of let me ruin the entire mood. It's more along the lines of, dude, calm the fuck down. We're gonna go for walkies later.
Well, given everything he's gone through with Shadowbringers and now how old he is in spirit, I should say, it feels like he should be a bit calmer, but I can't blame him for the energy of wanting to finally live out his, I guess, childhood dream of traveling with the adventurer.
It is his childhood dream.
So
I mean, he was 22 when you first meet him, so yeah, it's
he's 22 plus 300 years old. I forget how long he was in both worlds.
So
yeah, he's allowed. He's basically grandpa just got the ability to walk again.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's the grandpa from Willy Wonka who
I
leaves
was
the bed.
just thinking that, Em.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
So on one hand, I understand him being energetic and almost childlike in his aspirations of what he was. On the other hand, it feels like he's a little too childish at sometimes. Like, his wisdom is always there. I will not deny him that.
Do you remember how he was when we first met him? There's no...
Yeah, when we first meet him, he's toying with us, he's playing with us, he's having fun. He's not taking anything seriously. And
no, he never took anything seriously.
we've essentially, what it is, it's not the Crystal Exarch in the driver's seat, it's Graha the boy with the Crystal Exarch skills and memories. The Exarch and Graha are often considered by the fan base as two separate characters.
Which makes sense in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically we basically put the 10-year-old in the driver's seat of essentially a military tank. Now this 10-year-old does know right from wrong. He does want to do good. He does want to help the heroes, but every now and then he's got to pull that, just put his pedal to the metal and just see where that tank can go.
Every now and then it's like a 10-year-old going, oh, Batman! It's Batman! Oh my god, it's Batman!
You live with Batman. Oh yeah.
But it's Batman.
I love that. And
so on another thing too, you have to consider, and here's spoilers for Shadowbringers, just in case someone's made it this far and they still haven't understood the spoiler warning.
Yeah.
He fully planned to die as the Crystal Exarch. He fully planned to die. He never thought he was going to get to have his adventure with his hero. He never thought he was going to meet any of these other scions. He never thought that he would.
Story.
Yeah, he thought, okay, this is it. I'm saving my hero. I'm going to go off. I'm going to die. Their story will
made my affairs.
continue.
I've
Mhm,
made my affairs. My will is written out. I have
mhm,
portions where everyone gets every one of my. Why am I still alive?
mhm.
Like I think
I
the best
don't know
example,
what comes next.
the best example for that for me would be just before we're heading in the Dawn Show, and he gets really excited about going on another adventure with the hero, and then he sees that Cryo really wants to go as well, and he gives his spot to her for the moment.
Yeah, he is able to read a room. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is his dream,
Mhm.
but he also remembers Krell's been had a way worse life than a lot of the other Scions have, and she's finally willing to come outside of her box. That's my oldest friend. I'm not raining on her parade. I will be the mature, responsible adult, but bring me back the best souvenirs, please.
Mm.
But
And there
we still
go
have
ahead.
lots of scenes of the Exarch still in him. When
Mhm,
all shit goes bar, when the world is doomed, the man who saved a doomed world steps forward, takes charge, and you go, "All right, he's 200 years old, has been leading a city state at death's door for that entire time."
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
So I
And then, as soon as the situation is calmed down, where he knows, okay, we don't need the Exarch, let's stop for candy, please.
Yep.
so,
And that right there is the big difference between his enthusiasm and Tataru's supposed enthusiasm. Grahatia can read a fucking room.
mm-hmm.
Yes,
Grahatia, while he will get excited at, oh my god, you're a Stinian, you're the Azure Dragoon, that excitement did not ruin the moment.
in
It
fact,
it
it
was
felt like he did that to break tension.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
And another thing I love about Graha is because he's looked up to the Warrior of Light for so long, thinking, oh wow, they're the legend. He's completely unaware. He might even be stronger than the Warrior of Light canonically.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about him. I'm hoping in Dontra, when he shows up, he gets to do something that we fail at.
Because he's always
Because
talking about how he's a humble mage, he's not good at what he does, this, that, and the other. Honey, you just cast float and saved all of our asses. Okay?
he
You go
saved
take a
an
nap.
entire.
You go take a nap. Pat pat.
He not only saved our asses, he saved everyone in a massive tower's asses. He saved
Mm-hmm.
thousands of people with one spell.
And I'm
I'm a
not.
humble mage.
And these people were
And
not
it
small people. These were large elephant-like people as well.
Mhm. Did it drain
I
him completely? Did it knock him on his ass for a bit? Absolutely. But yeah, humble mage my ass. Go take a nap. Go take a
You
nap,
are the
sweetheart.
legendary hero. You saved the day. Dude, you have been keeping an entire city, an entire reality in a sense, held together with your own planning. Yes, you couldn't save the day, but if you didn't do these actions, there'd be no world to save. You have done
Mhm.
more than our characters have. It's just we do it
Mhm.
flashier. And I love that about him. He is unable to read his own ability. He still sees himself as that archer.
In the words of
Yep.
Megamind, it's all about presentation.
Yeah, kind of. But that's one of the reasons why I like Graha. I don't think he's a. Some people call him a Gary Stew. No, he's not a Gary Stew. The story doesn't revolve around him.
Exactly. He's not a um yeah, the story doesn't revolve around him. He's not
He's
like
not
a
all
quote unquote
powerful. He
self-insert.
has
He's not
clear set limits.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When he's not on screen, the story isn't asking where he is. Only
Nope.
Nemesis.
Where's Graha? Where's Graha?
Yeah.
Where's Graha?
That's
Where's my cat boy?
that's what a Gary and or Mary Stew is. As soon as
Where's my
that
kitty?
character is off screen, the story is asking, where is this character? So yeah.
But
Next
let's
we'll
move
talk
on.
about Cryle Beldessian. Queen of the potatoes, in my opinion. She is my favorite Lalafell, hands down. Not just because she's a reference to Final Fantasy V, because I adore Final Fantasy V, but she is always as soon as she's introduced as the second sassiest Scion.
Yep.
And I love that about her. She is good friends with Graha, with Alphino, and she's able to bounce back and forth between these two, teasing them, but also hyping them up when they need it.
Mm-hmm.
She's also hyping us up. She is generally the most left behind Scion because she is a humble healer and not even very good one.
Yeah,
Apparently,
she started off pretty much as like a quest giver, essentially.
Yeah.
You want to go by
Now,
mechanics of the game.
she has done some amazing feats. If you've done Eureka, that's an entire storyline for her, but it's not necessary to do. But during Shadowbringers, it's largely her hard work that the Scions are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Her slaving over their unconscious bodies while they're mind walking another reality, while their bodies are dying and their minds are in pain, she keeps their bodies going. She nearly drains herself multiple times saving people. She's not going to be the best mage ever, but she's going to put more effort in than most characters will. And what I love about her is she admits that she wishes she could go with us, but she's like, I'm going to hold you all back. You're going to constantly be worried about me. I've been damsel in distress a few times. My attacks are not that good. My healing doesn't match up to Alphanos or Grahas. I'll be the woman in the chair to give you commands and help you that way. But please be safe. Please take care of yourselves. Come back alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's what the major difference between her and Tataru is she reads a room and is worried about our safety. Tataru feels like she's only worried about our wallets.
And now for Dawn Trail, she'll be coming out and actually venturing with us with a whole new job she'll be showing us.
Which making her half reference Final Fantasy V, half Final Fantasy VI, so she immediately went up points for both me and them. I'm looking forward to Pictomancer. It's not a job I'm hyped for, but I'm hyped for Kryl to be with us. Like, honestly, I love Graha. I'm happy he's with us, but I was never hyped of him joining us because it always felt like Graha's coming with us.
This also feels like a
Kryl,
chance to see a whole new side of Kryl.
Yeah, she's outside from behind her books. She's going to be in the front line. She's going to be nervous. She's going to need us to encourage her, or she's going to completely blossom out of her shell, and we're going to be like forgetful that she was ever scared, forgetful that she was ever weak, forgetful that she was ever damsel in distress.
Especially when she was kidnapped because of her echo. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, one reason why I don't actually like Xeno. Why I don't actually consider Xenos a friend. But let's talk about the latest addition to the Scions. He's the Azure Dragoon, who is apparently canonically stronger than us. He's just a blunt weapon. It's confirmed the Warrior of Light is more flexible than he is. He just sees the world as not a nail, but a dragon to constantly hit. If it doesn't involve hitting things really hard, Estinian's not any useful. He is, unlike every other Scion, not book learned. And I fucking love the Scions. A bunch of pasty ass nerds are like, we're all phantasmical, powerful beings, but we need someone who could hit really hard. Hey, that character from Heavensward who everyone loves is not doing anything right. What?
I really love what they did with him, especially everything with Nidhogg and all that other fun stuff. He really blossomed. Well, I couldn't say he's really adapted to the outside world because he's still overpaying for everything.
But he's aware of it. Remember with the whole thing when we buy the map from the kid, he's aware that he's getting scammed. He's aware he's spending too much money.
I think that at that time he learned he was doing that. I think before when he was going to buy us the...
Well, the thing is, the difference is, Tataru says he's blunderous with money. Don't let him handle it. The Warrior of Light says, you're being ripped off. I'm what? Oh. We basically tell him, be careful. Tataru just says he's stupid.
Yeah.
We explain, don't touch the hot stove, Estinian, you'll burn yourself. Oh. Tataru just smacks his hand. Or insults him. There's a difference in how you teach someone. Now, the reason why he lets himself get scammed is he can also tell a street urchin who's starving when he sees one. So he's like, well, I don't need this money. I'm perfectly fine. I can make back this money. If I want a job at any time, anyone will hire me as a bodyguard, as an instructor. I'm not in a hard place.
Yep.
But at the start of the game, no, he didn't. He's like, I know medicine's expensive. This must just be the price here in Thavner. No. Oh. He actually is the comic relief character Endwalker, and it's because he's the most serious at all times.
I just like how they did. It felt to me like proper comedy for the situation. Is kind of where I was leaning towards.
They're not making fun of him for being book dumb. They're making fun of him for being so serious all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when he lightens up, it makes the mood lighter.
Mm-hmm.
They also just like pointing out that he just likes eating. He's a very simple man. He doesn't need these complicated things, and he's actually enjoying life now. He went from in Heaven's Word and technically a Realm Reborn to just grr, vengeance. I am the Dragon Slayer. Grr, if it's not slaying dragons, it's not pointful doing. Grr. Oh hey, I really like this octopus stuff.
Oh my god. He's the
In fact, he
Alan
goes-
of the Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, kind of is, and we love him for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lot of people's. He's a pretty popular character too, and I enjoy having him around. I'm hoping we get to fight him in Dondrail.
He's up there for me for sure.
Now,
Yeah.
before we
Like-
get into the 4 characters behind them,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to discuss that. I want to say about, I think it was halfway through Endwalker, we actually get a scene where we can select who we talk to in our rooms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was about
We get to
halfway.
talk
I
to-
could be wrong
Yeah.
on that one.
Our choices are the twins, Yustola, Estinian, and was Graha one of the options?
Graha was one of the options.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I
And
don't remember if Thancred was either.
it's
I
a
think it was.
to me, it's a prime example of the little things in the story that really make Final Fantasy XIV shine, and it shows
you
their individual personalities.
Yeah. You get to see a couple of their quirks. You get to see how they've changed. My favorite of those is to pick Yustola, who shows up, talks to you, tells you to be careful, and then does something she hasn't done for a while. A thing she became a habit of hers in Shadowbringers to show that she still remembers the group she traveled with at Shadowbringers. She does a Knight's Blessing prayer to you. And she admits it's kind of cheesy, but she wishes us well in the way that the people who took care of her on the first did. And it's nice to see her do that. I kind of wish her and Graha did more quirks of the first, but I understand why they don't.
Ishtola, I can see why, but Graha, I really wish that he would slip out a Wicked White every once in a while.
Yeah, or something like that. The second best one, in my opinion, is Estinian's because it's pure comedy.
Yes.
He shows up, he's 100% serious, he has a heart-to-heart talk to you, and then he jumps at your window because he doesn't want to be seen in your room.
And wants to avoid Alpha now because he's so worried about his little brother, in a sense.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
bond he and Alphino get is adorable. We don't see this, but Alphino brings him to see his mom and introduce them, and this is my personal hero. He's my big brother figure. And Estinian, when he talks to you afterwards, like, why weren't you there to save me from this?
Yeah.
Playing dragons is one thing, but pleasantries over tea. What do I do?
parties! Tea parties!
And we're allowed to tease him about that. His response
Mhm.
was, "I'm joking at you. It wasn't actually the end of the world for me. It's just not something I wanted to do."
But if you know Estinian as well, him leaving out the window is just hilarious to me.
It's peak Final Fantasy Dragoon. I can never. I've always pictured every Dragoon constantly leaving by jumping.
Mhm.
End of conversation. Leap away. Kane, we're already on the top floor. He'll be fine.
And I,
but yeah.
Raha, if I remember right, because he's the only one that I've seen so far. If I remember right, he just brings snackies and nervously just wants to have a cute heart to heart.
it's a good thing he's really active, or he'd be really pulling with how many snacks he has.
Snackies!
I get the feeling Graha's a nervous eater like myself.
Yeah, I get that feeling too.
So let's talk about the row behind. The characters who will never return beyond maybe flashbacks. And since we started with the left, let's start with the right this time with everyone's, besides me, favorite villain from Final Fantasy, the Shadowbringers' main antagonist, Emmett Selk, aka Hayes, aka Emperor Solus, aka the Ascian behind everything, aka King of Depression.
Yeah, he's a handful.
It's
We
all
get
right,
to see-
Hades. I'll give you huggies.
We get to see. I absolutely love him as a character. I just like Nidhogg more as a villain. Don't ask me why. My brain's weird. Anyway, we get to see him at his absolute best in
And
Endwalker.
worst.
And worse, yes. We get to go back in time and see him before he becomes the man behind everything, we get to see him as just a bureaucrat who is being dragged around by his best friend and love hating every second of it.
What
You get to see
uh,
the smiles he actually has.
Mm.
You get to see why he
Mhm.
loves his world so much. He's still very much along the lines of, do I have to do this? Oh, this is so cringe. But you get to see why, especially his best friend Hythlodaeus, who most people are convinced has a crush on, but I don't see it. But that's up to you. Anyway, you get to see why Hythlodaeus means so much to him. That
mhm.
here's this introvert with an extreme extrovert, and they get along so well. And we get to see why he has a world to save. We get to see why he is so driven to damn the world if it's not his.
It also,
And it's heartbreaking.
for me, he's kind of it's still tormented for him. It really shows a blurred line between being enslaved to a
Darn
primal.
God, yeah. Yeah. All the ideas he does throughout the entire game are his ideas. His motivations just pushed to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's doing things he would never do. When we tell him we're from the future and this is the shit you do, he looks at it like you're crazy. Like, I'm not a raving madman.
Mhm.
And when you
And
find out
then
why he becomes a raving madman, oh yeah, he isn't a raving madman. He's just forced to be one.
Yeah.
And again, spoilers, just in case someone has made it this far again, when you get to the point that he is finally convinced that you are telling him the truth and you are from the future, and he tells you, remember this, remember me, and all that, but then his mind gets wiped.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
then
his
there's a
first line
point.
when he
Mhm.
gets his memory back, I begged you to remember, but I'm the one who forgot.
Mhm. Yep.
This is just a massive joke to you, Heinlein.
Yep.
But
And stuff like that is honestly why I love his character so much. Yes, he did horrible, unspeakable things, but his mind
They
was
weren't.
taken from him.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
but
His mind was taken from him, and his heart is shattered.
yeah,
mhm.
The only thing left in his life is the chance to see his world back.
yep,
It's
Mhm.
not coming back. He doesn't know this. He's incapable of not realizing his world won't come back until his memory's restored. And then he's like, well, my story's done. It's now the next generation's job. You could still help and fight. No, I can't. It's not my place anymore. I don't have the power, and it's not my place. So I think his character growth. I was worried he would come back in Endwalker and it would just kind of ruin his character because you can be overexposed with a character.
Mhm.
And no, it made his character better, and
It
that's
really did.
largely thanks to the character to his left, Hythlodaeus,
yep.
our new old friend.
Heh.
Hith is everything Emmett Selk is not. He's warm, he's sunshine, he's bubbly, he's fun, he enjoys life. He's not stickler for rules, and he was one of the first people to sacrifice his own life to save the world because he could not bear the thought of a world that was endangering his two most important friends.
Yep. He's actually my favorite Asian.
He's not an Asian, he's an agent. Asians are those who work for Zodiac.
Yeah,
He's just
I'm
That's
just
fine,
so
that's
used to
fine,
saying
that's
Asian at this point.
yeah. And Hythlodaeus has one mission in life, and that's to make Emmett Sulk amazing wizard and make his other friend, Azem, who ends up being, spoiler alert, us, as amazing. He will be happily lay down his life to ensure that his two friends are at their best. And the
Mhm.
whole end of days throws a monkey wrench in that, and he realizes Azem and Emmett Sulk are going to do something stupid. I have to do it first.
I personally like our headcanon that Hith and Azem are related, but there's not anything that's proven that so far.
No, it could be a romantic relationship that makes them related. They could be siblings. They could be father and son, mother and son, father and daughter. Who knows what their relationship is?
Because
It's
Azem's gender changes based on what your character's gender is. Because, like Em just said, you are Azem.
In fact, the fan theory is not only is your character a Zem, but you, the player, are a Zem.
And
Metaphysics.
yeah, here's the thing. it kind of ties into the original council that the ancients had,
Hmm.
and that each person had a job and a title. Azem's job was pretty much to go out in the world and kind of fix the problems that were out there.
Yep. On
And-
their own
create.
without having
Mhm.
yeah. And everything else the council does, all right, let's hold a debate. The seat of Azem is I don't have time for a goddamn debate. That shit's on fire, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
I'm gonna go fix it.
yeah, so essentially,
Yeah.
you haven't stopped doing your job.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he's so happy about that because we're probably the best Azem ever because the only other Azem we meet is to the left. We had Vina, the previous Azem, before our character is Azem. And we'll talk more about her second form later, but she's essentially the world's mom.
Mhm.
Whether or not she's a good mom is up to the player base. You're not
Mhm.
supposed to automatically agree with her or disagree with her choices. The thing is, her choice was not a choice for her. She had to do what she did to save the world, which was blow up the world into 14 pieces.
Yeah, each
That
ancient.
ensured people were. That ensured each person the world stays alive because if she didn't do this, the Asians and the ancients would have just kept feeding people to Zodiac endlessly.
Yeah.
They would have become any inconvenience. Oh, Zodiac will take care of that. It's just going to cost 4 people. Oh, that's a pretty big problem. It's just going to cost 100 people. That doesn't matter. Huh. It's a big problem. Let's sacrifice everyone who's not us to it.
Yeah,
She was very.
here's
The ancients are so focused on our lives are perfect, we have no struggles at all, that as soon as a struggle comes along, they don't know how to interact with it.
Mhm.
So they go with the easy solution. And the easy solution is because they don't view life and death as life and death, they view it as a temporary restart and you come back as a different form, which is accurate to that world, but they also don't grieve for people and they started seeing people as numbers. Literally batteries.
yeah, it's half and
It's a
half
perversion.
with the problem with the
It's a
perfect
perversion of-
world.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a perfect world. And their society was working, but when the end of days came, they stopped looking at things livingly and started looking at things completely utilitarian. People stopped being people. You matter, but the guy next to you is a battery. Or you yourself are a battery for the greater good.
Yeah, because
Without
the original plan was that they summon Zodiac, sacrifice half the people to fix the first problem, summon
first it was half the people were sacrificed to make Zodiac.
Mhm.
Then the remaining half went half again to fuel Zodiac to fix the world. Then the new life was going to be used to bring back everyone that just was lost for the first 2 summonings of Zodiac, which is not how Zodiac would have worked. So they would have just kept throwing people into Zodiac until they got the result they wanted because he works.
And-
Zodiac is flawless. He is our dark god. He totally hasn't perverted our brains.
Yeah, that would have been the other
And-
problem is that I don't think they quite understood how.
No, they've never made a creation more powerful than themselves.
Yeah.
They didn't know what tempering was. They tempered themselves without realizing what the fuck they did.
Mhm.
Because they were playing with phenomenal cosmic powers without being like, should we field test this first? Dude, everything's on fire.
Because
Right, skipping that.
none of the ancients really brought up tempering. That didn't come up until the alligator. Well,
Yeah. It didn't come up until we started dealing with the gods they left flying
Yeah.
around.
Yep.
And I like that about them. And it basically forced Vana's hand. She was the only sane person in the room who goes, oh shit, we are so obsessed with perfection that anything that's not perfection, they're going to kill everything for it. I have to stop this, and the only way to stop this is to basically commit cosmic genocide. People are still going to be alive. They're not going to keep throwing things at Zodiac, but I'm going to have to destroy my entire society, my entire reality, and then spend the rest of eternity battling this dark god so he doesn't come out and eat people.
Yeah, because each ancient kind of had their own unique ability.
Yeah, hers was to protect people from tempering.
Wasn't hers just... No, that was Highland specifically. Okay, I brain farted for a second there.
Okay. Anyway, so I do like that about Vana / Hyland. You can view her as the villain or the hero, or you can just view her as someone who was forced to do something.
In the long run, it kind of buys down to, do you believe her convictions? Which is what it boils down to
Yes.
with a lot of the characters in 14.
Yeah, and I like that.
because
I lean towards she did a terrible thing for all the right reasons.
yeah, because
I
sometimes
don't.
you can know
I don't.
the truth of what happened in a situation, but that doesn't mean you have the solution. It's going to come down to
Yeah.
your conviction of how you resolve it.
Yeah. She believed that the true solution was beyond the ancients' vision because they were so binary they could not think outside the box. So people who know nothing but struggle will know how to struggle against the box. So I understand her. I don't forgive her, but I do respect Vinod. I don't paint her as the villain, but I do not paint her as a savior.
And then we get to the man in the center with the bird.
Well, real quick, you also have to remember too that her memories were wiped along with Hith and
No,
Hades.
hers were not.
No, hers were.
No, they weren't.
No, she escapes and she basically says, "I can't tell Hades and Hypnotides. They won't believe me. They'll think I'm crazy."
Because she came to the tower after us. Remember, she was knocked off before the machine activated.
Yeah, she saved us from being our memories.
Oh,
being wiped.
right.
Yeah.
On Argos.
Yeah, good dog.
Good dog.
Good dog.
Okay, Hydley may not be a hero, but Argos is a hero.
Indeed.
But yeah, next we have Hermes, the man in the middle, the man who's actually at fault for everything. Hoo boy, he is a hot topic.
Okay.
And not the store.
As an individual and just being on his own, he's not such a bad person.
I
really liked him at first.
Yeah, he's essentially a man suffering from a slight depression, slight existential dread, and nobody really cares about his questions. So rather than do the smart thing and actually go to where the debates are held in this world, they're very big in debates, someone would have debated him, someone would have asked him questions. He uses his position as head of a laboratory to create 1,000 different birds to send into space to ask the universe, what's the meaning of life?
42.
But then pre-programmed into them, if they don't come back with a positive answer, keep looking. Which ended up being he wanted a specific answer. The birds could not find his one answer. So it broke the birds because they kept looking and they kept going, oh, this world's dead. Oh, this world's unhappy. Oh, this world doesn't have his answer, so it's not right.
The other problem was it's not like he sent 1,000 individuals into space.
He sent a hive mind that is only on emotion, and they can sense each other's emotions, and they can sense the emotions of things around them. So when one of them landed on a depressed, dead world, it soaked that up, transmitted it to its sisters, who then accidentally released it, so it turned some worlds poisonous. He created an angst bomb that spread throughout the universe until it came back to him with the answer of, the meaning of life is to die. And he accepted that answer.
Well,
in fact, he accepted it so heartily to his soul upon his rebirth later on that as soon as someone else mentioned it, he went full megalomaniac again.
I'd like to amend that just a little bit.
Go ahead. I do like to over-exaggerate things.
There is, well, you're not exaggerating. The amend is that in this universe, when you die, your soul is pretty much whooped up in pretty much the life stream of the planet, and then it's pretty much reborn as something else. This universe, a cycle of rebirth, essentially. To the birds, this was seen as you're just being brought back to die miserably and over and over and over again. So they wanted to end it all. They wanted to end the recycle of rebirth. Like they wanted to have nothing.
Halt the progress. Yeah, everything will turn to nothing. Which makes me think the first play they landed on was the AO world, where they realized entropy was the end result of all life. But the AO were so fixated on the numbers, they forgot about the joys of life. So that's what made the angst bomb. But because he was looking for a specific answer and could not calculate there might be different answers, this was the only end result. If you know anything about the laws of the universe, like why have we not seen any alien life yet? He never heard of that question before or thought of that question before. Which the answer to that is mostly depressing mathematics, which is why I don't subscribe to it.
Yeah,
even though it's probably right.
We also know one or two of those birds were probably attacked on a planet they went to for being an alien in the first place.
Oh yeah, something either you're different or you're tiny and prey.
So that
Guaranteed to happen. That definitely caused some psychic trauma to the birds. This is essentially why This is essentially why new types don't just get sent out into space without any preparation, and this is why Jedi needed training.
yeah, pretty much.
Because psychics in space don't usually end up very well unless you're very careful about things. And essentially, this man skipped every scientific process when making these birds. He just did it.
Yeah.
All because he couldn't accept how he felt. He took everything so personally, which is fair. I mean, I'm not saying his feelings were wrong. It's just that he didn't really bother talking to anyone in society. He just looked at their reactions to death and goes, well, that could be the only thing they think about. They don't care. They don't care, but I care. I care about everything.
Like
Hermes, you care about how you feel and you're projecting on everything.
It was also shown that he was quite clearly capable of talking to people, especially when Emmett and the party met him. Like, he's not trying to openly avoid people. He kind of does it subconsciously, in my opinion.
Yeah, he basically sees what he thinks the people are going to react with and doesn't really ask. If he did, the game didn't do a very good example of teaching us that he was asking people, what do you think about death? What do you think the meaning of life is?
I mean, he didn't have to be blunt with it like that, but he never really... He seemed open to interpretation, but never really asked people what they were interpreting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It didn't match his binary answer, so he clearly didn't care. Which, life is rarely binary.
Yeah.
But yeah, upon the world being split, he comes back many years later as a scientist named Fandaniel. Not Fandaniel, Amon, thank you. Amon. And as soon as someone comes back from death and tells him that death is cold and pointless, Amon goes completely nuts and ends up being even worse than Hermes in terms of how he views. He ends up being basically the herald to the end singer.
Yeah, and then he possesses the body of Fandaniel.
No, Fandaniel was his original. It was his seat name. He ends up possessing the body of Asagi. The man Soul hated the most in the game.
I hate him so much I forgot his name.
So basically, in terms of Final Fantasy XIV villains, Fandaniel, Amon, Hermes is my least favorite, but he did set up a really great story. Which is pretty damn good, in my opinion. I do not like him. I don't care for his story. I feel like I need to play the world smiles violin around him out constantly, but he did end up creating a great story, so I forgive him. Narratively. Mm-hmm. Emotionally, I'm just going to take a rock to the back of his head.
Yeah.
You want death so much, have it!
So that's the majority of the people that we work with in Endwalker. We do meet a few other characters that do a couple of major things, but for the sake of the show, I didn't present them.
That's fine. So let's get on to the actual new zones, because Endwalker's pretty. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna get prettier. So this is Charlian, the main city-state we go to. It's the land of nerds.
He's not wrong. Though.
Most of the Scions are from here or from one of its colonies.
Mm-hmm.
They're a bunch of fucking nerds.
Yep.
They're also non-interventionists and pacifists. Oh, they'll learn to defend themselves, but they'll never interfere in other people's struggle because they just want to chronicle the world going to shit. Because we find out that Hydaelyn had two plans for the end of the world. Us stopping the end of the world, and let's get the shit out of Dodge. And the Charlians are all, let's get the shit out of Dodge.
And the thing
they are
about
chronicling people's histories, getting samples of seeds, flora, fauna, so that they can get to their tiny boat and escape on their escape pod.
Yeah, this kind of makes me fully understand that even after all this time, Vanad didn't know exactly what was causing the end of days.
She knew, but she didn't know how to solve it was the actual problem.
Well, I'm just saying, like, because even technically running wouldn't have really solved the end problem.
It would have running wasn't a solution; it was survival. Mm-hmm. There is a difference.
Oh no, I'm just saying that
she basically
I'm just saying, like, it points out that she's been spending so much time trying to keep things going and people alive. She never really was able to find out what was going on.
She didn't have time to, man.
Exactly.
keeping Zodiac at bay the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So she left it up to her creations and the people of the world. But she also made sure that if they can't figure it out, they need a way to survive to maybe figure it out on the next planet, or the next planet, or the next planet. Oh dear God, we're running out of real estate. Someone help us.
But I really do like the design of Charlian.
Charlian wins best night theme for a city-state.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably my second favorite city as well. My favorite's still Ishgard, and that's mostly because Ishgard looks like it's shit. It's a castle falling apart, and I love its aesthetic for some stupid reason. Don't ask my brain. But Charlian is very Greco-Roman style.
Mm-hmm.
It's also got a dash of Viking in it, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
I do love their teleport crystal, though.
Yeah, they're obsessed with the spiral shell shape, so that's even their teleport crystal. That's their town. That's their city symbol, and I just love how their god is the god of water. So if you have flowing water, that's fancy. Just pointless fountains are fancy. Can respect that. This is House Levieur, where Alphino and Alice grew up. It's the only mansion we can really explore. It's really damn fancy, and home to one character the three of us wanted to punch for the longest time. Now we want to punch him, but slightly less hard.
Yep.
It's also home to the other person that we want to get hugs from.
Yes. Who is the actual backer of the Scions financially. So shut up, Tadaro. She's in charge. But yeah, Forsnell Levieur, the twins' father, disowns them in hopes that they'll stop running around the world so they can come home and get on the escape ship like good boys and girls. No. They have seen the world. They realize that the world is worth fighting for. And he just sees them as just being childish and taking after their foolish grandpa who broke the rule of non-intervention. We should be non-interventionists and run and hide. And oh dear God, they're grown adults now.
I will say this one.
I'm so proud of them.
For the people of Charlene, they weren't planning on just saving their own hides. Like, they were fully intent on saving everyone they could.
Yep.
Yeah, they knew they couldn't save everyone.
Like,
but to them, the first thing worth saving was the world's knowledge. Because to be fair to them, let's just say you couldn't save people of Udal, but if you cataloged Udal's history, you can save the memory of Udal. Not as good, but at least they won't be forgotten.
And they were also taking
intentions, but
taking steps for their agriculture, their food supplies, everything like that, to be able to try and attempt to adapt it to their new world so they could still survive.
Yeah, because they did not know what out in space.
So they had steps to try and make sure wherever they went, they could survive. So I do applaud the effort they put into this.
Yeah, they weren't just cowards.
Yeah.
They were logically like, okay, there's a 95% chance we can't stop the end of the world. So let's increase our odds of survival when we have to leave. We basically show up going, we can save the day. We just need your escape ship.
I'm sorry, what?
But if you take that, we won't have a plan B. We won't need plan B. We're gonna win. Dear God, we're gambling the entire reality on this.
Yeah, we'll discuss.
Shit, they won. Oh shit, they won. Well, now what do we do?
Let's go study other things.
Knowledge. Keep hoarding knowledge? Yeah, sure, why not? Be more open at sharing it? Fine.
No. What are we, savages? No, we'll just keep storing it here.
We'll share a little bit. They can have the grade school stuff. This is advanced astrophysics. We said grade school stuff. But yeah, Charlian's a lot of fun. It's very different than most of the places we go to in 14, and I like that. Like, they can still wow us with different landscapes. Here's the only restaurant, because they're so obsessed with mathematics, they only go for what is the most nutrient efficient food. And one guy got so fed up with it, he made a restaurant. They called it The Last Stand, and I love the name. It's The Last Stand. It's The Last Stand against bad taste.
Yeah, because they had this food, like this fish-based bread thing that was apparently terrible.
Oh, Archon loaf. It's the most nutrient-dense thing you'll ever eat. Tastes like a fish died.
And to end that,
like, if you're noticing, a fish did die in the making of this delicious. No, that's wrong. Nutritious meal.
Okay, it tastes like a fish just died.
And the thing about it, wasn't that also one of the quests, Charlie, was to try and improve the taste of that thing?
Yeah, that's the culinarian / alchemist quest line where you're trying to chemically make it edible. And that is literally how you win that quest line. And someone points out, while this one is easier to make and much more fuel efficient, how many of you want to eat this every day? Pass, 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 pass. The tasting food wins.
I'm pretty sure that guy died over there trying to avoid it.
I wish I wasn't. But
The
yeah,
other thing
I
is,
also one of my favorite things about this is the actual mugs in game are being sold in real life, and I want a Last Stand mug, but I don't want to pay the shipping for it.
This place also has one of my favorite scenes near the end of Endwalker when we need a.
When you get drunk.
No.
No, okay, because I love the little dinner you have with the adult scions here.
That's a nice one
Arianja
too.
gets drunk. Arianja gets drunk and asks, "How have you made copies of thyself?" I haven't. Keep thy mysteries to thyself. I'll figure out your sorcery later. We'll get him home. Don't worry.
No, I was talking about the one where you need enough power to power the ship to get you to the end of the universe, and everyone that you have helped throughout the entire story of Final Fantasy 14 shows up to lend you a hand by donating supplies.
Or Sid showing up, going like, "You're building a rocket to space, and you didn't call me first. I thought we were friends, man. What did I do to you, man?"
And this also shows Alphinaud and Elsie's parents of all the great work that they've done.
Yeah, because sure, the Warrior of Light is the one who saved these people, but that's not the one who made connections with them. He's the one who's being like, "I'm going to call in a favor." This is basically our equivalent of the end game scene of everyone just showing up from the teleportation portals. Only rather than to fight, they just, "Here, have fuel. Here, have fuel. Here, have my rocketry knowledge. I'm here for moral support. Thanks. You're welcome."
Because Alphinaud even orchestrated them delivering it, getting it here a little bit, and just who to contact.
We just said, "Hey, could you get these supplies for us?" And then everyone shows up at once. And the more side stories you've done, the more people show up. So if you're like us and did every side story you get your grippy little hands on, basically
There's a
everyone.
lot of people there.
Yep, the quest, like, there's apparently like an additional 15 minutes added to this cutscene if you've done everything. I could be exaggerating, but I hope it's 15.
I'm just surprised Alpha and Omega didn't show up for this.
Alpha and Omega did show up for that.
Really?
They're with Sid's group.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep, they're with the Ironworks.
Yeah, because Alpha is an honorary Ironworks. So I'm just picturing Omega plugging himself into the computer and helping plot the course to it.
I just remember the pirates showing up and then leaving without word, just waving goodbye.
Yeah, it's pirates for you.
The Aspas is sending the new Turtle Guardian with the sword of their lord, essentially.
Yeah, it's sending you Tenzin's magic sword of Phoenix. Like, holy shit, this is a sacred relic to your nation. Yeah, we won't have a nation if you don't use this. Okay, yeah, fair point.
Can't argue that.
And I will say this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'd love the launching of the ship also, because that's just an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, we even include the gods we slay to launch that ship. It wraps everything up in a tight, neat bow, and I fucking love it. Like, that's why Endwalker is so good to me. It feels like there's no stone left unturned. They set something up, they knock it down. It's like dominoes.
This is what the Great Garuda is reduced to: escorting a ship.
And Susana Owen's best primal line again. Just so jolly to be rocket fuel.
I love those guys.
Yep. Even the monsters we slay must help us. Beautiful.
Let's move on a little bit.
So then the other major area we go to is Thavnir, which has been a land we've talked about almost as long as Charlian. It's basically India.
Yeah.
And it's so pretty. Look at all the colors.
Beautiful.
They really
look at them colors.
Like, compared
and
to
apparently, as a side note, you see those stairs at the very bottom of the screen that are all brown and brick-like? They're going to be wooden in a few weeks.
Huh.
Highly detailed planks of wood, because that was what they always intended, but the graphical limit got in the way, and
You know,
For
we're
a
gonna
joke,
spend so
they-
much time going back and forth through old areas just to see the differences now.
Oh yeah, I almost think we're not even gonna spend our first day doing content. We're just gonna be like,
But let me just do a quick comparison real quick.
sure.
Here is Charlian outside. It's not that bad. It's got some bright colors with the flowers and everything like that.
Very
now-
white and green.
Yeah. But now, compared to Thavnir, how much of a color difference is that?
And there's even more colors. There's a purple mountain in the background, for God's fucking sake.
Mhm.
So they really...
I felt I
ahead.
fell in love when we actually got into Routes at Hand, which we'll talk about later. But when you're in the part where there's all the silks and all the spices and all the, I mean, that's where you really can. It kind of is more like, oh yeah, this is definitely India.
Mhm.
It's
This
just
is just where we land. Like technically, we don't take a boat here, but this is where everyone else docks their boat. Like this is how you enter the place. This is an entrance.
Yeah, we kind of
And it
came
just
in
gets prettier
really
the further you go in.
unconventionally.
we did.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh jeez.
Because the way
Yeah.
teleportation is supposed to work is that you have access. You went to there and access the teleportation system there.
You basically attune your body to it, so your body memorizes this location. We skipped that stage due to an experimental Charlian teleportation, and you may feel a tiny bit of etherical sickness. Like,
Tiny
Tiny
my
my
ass.
ass.
and that's when Gideon has to go buy medicine for us because he's been here before during his wandering around, squid hunting. I mean, finding the meaning of life.
Jumping around here and there, everywhere.
Jump around, jump around.
Yep. But yeah, while this is a very heavy story, they still know when to sprinkle in jokes.
Mhm.
So good. All right, next screen. This is the actual entrance to the city, Razat Han. Which,
And just
first of all, I love the name. Razat Han just rolls off the tongue so well. It's got a nice mouthfeel to it.
I'm just gonna say this one, and I hope I don't insult anyone, but it does sound very India to me.
And
But-
they intend to do it.
Mhm.
What I also love about this is because the voice acting is now done in the UK. There's such a heavy Indian population in the UK. They got actual people with Indian accents to do these roles in this part of the game, and it so adds so much cleverness to it.
But once again, look at all the colors they added that they didn't have to, just for like the pillars, the windows,
Walls. The motif of the city is the dragon's eye that sees all, and it's a pretty dragon's eye. We can't. It's here, but it's very
Yeah.
zoomed out, so we can't
But I
unfortunately see
mean,
it.
the pillars themselves, like a lot of things with the save research would have just looked at like a standard color for everything.
You know what it reminds me of in the best way?
What's that?
When you run out of one color of Lego bricks, so that building has to be every color.
Oh right.
I love it. I love it. Like, why be one color?
But I will say
What?
this one: I hate the jumping puzzles.
You both do. All right.
I get to cheat. That doesn't.
I hate you.
So this is the actual inside the main part of Razat Han, and we don't get to see the markets. The markets are beyond here, but they even decorated their damn teleport crystal with their fancy purple silken fabric.
Well, if
Yep.
our city's gonna be fancy, so is our crystal.
Yeah, like this is a mercantile city. They have been around. They're the longest surviving city. They survived the fall of the last two apocalypses.
Yeah, I think their
this
two
ends.
major imports and exports is spices.
Alchemic regions. Alchemic regions is their first. Spices their second. Silks are their third.
I was gonna say I knew silk was one of them.
No,
Mhm.
their alchemy is their first. They've been practicing alchemy for 2,000 to 3,000 years uninterrupted.
I can't imagine why they don't. It's not like they don't have a little town dedicated to it with people that go nonstop without sleep while experimenting. Oh wait,
Yeah, this is the reason why, because Charlotte and Thavnir are both non-interventionists and neutral nations, they can deal back and forth with each other, and they're both nerd nations. Charlian's more about studying the written word and studying magics. Razat Han's more about studying alchemy and biology. So they keep exchanging shit, and that's how we get to go to back and forth between two. We take advantage of that, and I love that we go from one type of nerd to a different type of nerd.
It was
and
also
they
thanks-
get along.
Mhm.
it was also thanks to Thavnir's ingenuity and alchemy that we managed to make it so that the party members could join us in situations where they normally couldn't.
Which, thank fuck.
Yeah, they had to go find some workaround so they could join us for those kind of fights.
It sure
We
did.
we created the cure for being turned into a monster slave. They created the preventative. So we basically vaccinated the world thanks to the teamwork of nerds.
Yep.
So the actual area around Razat Han and in Thavner is so pretty. Here's a giant fountain that will make people very, very depressed if you look at it too long. So instead, look at the statue of Ganesh that we didn't get to fight.
Yeah,
I
I'm really
so wanted to
surprised
fight
by that.
Ganesh.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of people were.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
but this is
if you consider the fact that we've already done Lakshmi and that a lot of the other primals are based on actual lore
deity.
and gods and mythological creatures, etc., 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 I
I mean,
honestly expected us to fight Ganesh.
sure, Odin looks very different than the traditional Norse Odin, but he's still a fun fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just give his horse back its other four legs. But yeah, this is one of the prettiest spots nearby. This is where, because the job Dancer, which came in Shadowbringers, is from Thavnir, they decided to make a really pretty stage to this, and oh my god, the lighting is still good, and it's gonna get even better.
Yeah, like this, like the peacock, the statues, the setting.
And you only come here once in the storyline. Never have to come back here ever again. That's what I love about 14. There are places that are so pretty you never get to go. There's a gazebo in Shadowbringers that we never go to, and it still fucks me. We never do anything with it. Why am I obsessed with that gazebo, Nem?
Oh.
I'm surprised they haven't tried. Nemesis tried to do like a dance party here or something.
I've seen dance parties. I've flown by while doing the Hippo quests once, and like, oh hey, there's a dance party going on here. I'm too tired to join, so I'm just gonna fly by, hand in this quest, and pass the frig out.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the expression of architecture that each area has of its own too, because this really shows off their world.
You definitely know the dev team have at least, if not traveled to, cracked open as many references they could to Far Eastern, Middle Eastern, Western style designs as they could. They've been they got no problem finding designs for Japan and China, so they decided let's go nuts everywhere else we can.
Because while fundamental architecture does have a lot of similarities between them, the expression is varied between the cultures, and it really does. Like even in the same area, like Udal, Gridania, and Limsa, they're all very different in architecture. But when you start traveling the world, it really expands what you see.
I always wonder what comes first for places like Limsa, Gridania, Udal. Did they design the place and then come up with a backstory, or come up with the backstory and design it? Because Limsa is a city built from a wrecked ship that landed on a big mountain. Did they make the mountain and the boat first and go, backstory is they crashed this pirate ship there, scavenged it to make a town? Or did they make the backstory first and work from that? Because that's one reason why I like Limsa so much.
I can see it going both ways depending upon what they need and what they just come across with their ideas.
Yeah.
Or even just bits and pieces of both. Like, we want to add a ship to this, but oh well, let's just have a wrecked ship do this and blah de blah, and just see where they go with it.
So underneath Charlian, they have Labyrinthos, which is a underground research facility where they're housing everything they've captured to study and or grow in the new world they fly to. I mean, literally the new world they fly to, not like the new continent we're going to. I mean, like, when do they go to space? Go to space.
Want to go space?
Yeah,
Space. Wanna go space?
this was twofold. One, so that they could actually kind of learn how to make their own ecosystems to survive with, just in case the place to go to wasn't quite suitable for them.
Yeah, so they could. I forget the term now. It's going to bug me because I use it so often. Do so often in every sci-fi. Terraform.
Yeah.
Also, where they could build their spaceship uninterrupted. With explosions.
So they had to know: can we sustain ourselves, and can we alter other scenarios? So that was, like I said, once again, a huge opportunity for them to show off what they knew, what they were at least doing, instead of some things where it's like, yeah, they had the idea, but their process was terrible. No, these guys actually had a set process that I could understand. So
I mean, the next slide you'll show shows they even invented an artificial sun. Oh wait, no, that's just another building.
Yeah, there we go.
There, an artificial sun. And it's a yellow sun, so it'll make Kryptonians happy.
So
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
process was understandable what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Like, they've actually had people living down here for a while as an experiment. Like, they were not ready for the end of the world. We kind of sped things up by accident.
Yeah, this world, this other world also had a day and night system, I believe. Is what, if I
It
remember
does.
right.
It does. You actually can see that sun dim.
So they
And
actually
turn into an
understood. Yeah,
artificial
the
moon.
sun has to go away so that things can rest.
Yes. Otherwise, owls will hoot incessantly.
Ooh.
Shut up, Lucifer.
Ooh.
But then we get to another part of the world.
Oh, we've been fighting this evil empire, which has not been brought up for a while.
Yeah, they're not doing too great.
They blew themselves up.
Pretty much. See, if anybody
Which
remembers,
was always the end result the Asians had planned for their empire. The Asians just made an empire, had it enslave the world, had it be basically Nazis because it was funny to us. I'm feeling like Solus made them Nazis because it was funny to himself.
yeah,
God damn it,
and
Hades, you're terrible at times.
yeah, they
But
pretty much, if anybody remembers, by the end of Shadowbringer, they're pretty much doing civil war out the wazoo.
yeah, every time a fascist empire or fascist nation loses their figurehead, they fall apart damn fast. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day, but Rome fell apart in a week.
Yeah. And you just see that they are literally, with everything that's going on in Endwalker, like, parts of it's not even involving what's actually the threat to Endwalker. They're just pretty much screwing themselves over thanks to Xenos.
Yeah, Xenos and Fandaniel are taking massive advantage of the chaos here in order to release the Dark God sooner. So we have to go to Garlemald, go to that spooky red ominous thing in the background, kick the shit out of those two, and prevent them from summoning the Dark God. Oh no, things go really bad here. They go so bad here.
Yeah.
This is probably the most depressing Endwalker gets.
I mean, I appreciate this actually getting to know the people of Garlemald that aren't trying to immediately kill us.
Like, if you'd asked us when we were playing Stormblood, when we get to Garlemald, what would be like? We always pictured us charging in to, stop the Empire. No, we get here to help refugee, to be like rescue party, like, hello? Other towns' fire departments come to help.
We don't want
Anyone
your
still-
help. You're not. You're savages. You're just here to take us over and get payback. We don't want your help.
Yeah,
You are
Garlemald
literally living in a bombed out outhouse.
Yeah, Garlemald
That man over there is literally freezing to death. I don't need your help. I'm totally fine. I am not paradoxically undressing because of frostbite.
Yeah, Garlemald gets dark in places really quickly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's basically the end result of what fascist propaganda does to people too.
Yeah.
I think
It
that was
is.
the first NPC that we barely even got to know that I cried over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They pull no punches in how sad this place is, but they also don't hold back on what actual true hope can do to people. When we actually do get through to a handful of people and end up showing them we're not savages, we're not here to take over. Would you like a warm cup of soup?
Because we're actually replaying this with other characters that just have fun with it, the two biggest moments that stick out from Garlemald to me is the sisters losing their lives because they couldn't trust us.
Which was the NPC I was talking about.
Mm-hmm. And the other one is, I believe his rank was general, was so set in his ways with the
Legatus, who could not
the
trust
Legatus.
us, who could not trust us at all, could not believe in a world not ruled by Garlemald, and would not be taken captive, shoots himself in the head.
And we weren't even going to take him captive. That was the real sad thing.
Because he couldn't, to him, it was conquer or be conquered. There's no middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the imperial world he grew up in. He helped make the empire. He's one of the oldest legatus. He's one of the oldest soldiers. He knew Emmett while he was posing as Solus personally. He's been through the worst. He's the first Legaeus. He's the first general. He is basically second in command to the Emperor. And he could not hold his nation together. And here comes a whole collection of savages to my nation who are demanding we do something to our spooky dark tower that we want to destroy ourselves, but we don't need your help. We'll take your supplies by force, and then we'll rebuild Garlemald, and now, shit, we can't beat them. Well, goodbye. And what gets me is that bloodstain is still on the wall where he did it. You can see it anytime you want. Anytime you want. But the scene that hits me the most is his second command, Julius, crying into his soup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he gets handed the cup of soup by an Alamegan, who the Empire had been ruling a few weeks ago, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And this Alamegan just, here, it's a warm cup of soup. And he's just like, this doesn't make any sense. But I haven't had warm food for... When have I last had warm food? They're real. These are real, kind people. And things going back to being terrible for Julius instantaneously.
Yeah, and then the next time is when the end pretty much comes.
Also,
and
there's also one other thing about Garlemald that matters to a lot of people. That's just, there is a quest line where you have the worst day of your character's life. Forced to fight and scrape by with none of your phenomenal cosmic powers. This quest has apparently been nerfed 8 times, if I remember reading it right. We did it when it was at maximum difficulty.
And it was
Holy crap.
fun.
Holy crap, I love how hard it was. When you complete that quest, you are literally crawling on your belly to save your friends from the one thing you know will destroy them.
Mm-hmm.
Your unstoppable body is under control of Xenos, the most bloodthirsty character in the game, who thinks killing your friends will make you more bloodthirsty too.
Well, he's not exactly wrong on that end.
No, not wrong. No. If he had killed any one of those scions, the fury we would have brought down to him would have been amazing. But it would have defeated the point of the story. So we luckily, holy crap, that quest is so good. But I understand why so many people hated it.
And it's Graha and one of his there's the Exarch moments who goes, yeah, that's not our friend.
Which I love how
that's not our friend.
They hinted that Y'shtola, the one who can see everything, is so exhausted. She's like, that doesn't look right, but I'm barely conscious right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, oh shit, we don't have an oh, thank you, Graha, you wonderful. And it's such a good, it's basically the closest to Dark Souls we're ever getting them to do.
But the other scene is with Julius, and that's near when the end is coming for the world. And he confronts Xenos, and Xenos literally flat out tells him, it's like, you were the dumb shit that followed me for all this. You
would it have mattered if I had a good reason? Who cares? Are you just a loyal dog, or are you a person?
Yeah, he literally flat out told him. It's one of the few times I agree wholeheartedly with Xenos, which is rare.
But then Alizé snaps back at him, and Alizé's snap back at him actually makes Xenos change his personality slightly.
Yeah.
So Xenos went from kicking a man while he's down to being tackled by Alizé and beaten, sent it to him.
But the thing I like about that scene is that while Alizé knocked him down a peg or two, neither one was actually wrong about the situation.
No, neither one was wrong, and I fucking love that. And it's just that's why I love this story so much. It's full of great character moments. With characters you can hate, can still be like, holy shit, that was good. Wow. Nice.
You're not wrong. I still hate you, but you're not wrong.
I'm still gonna punch you, but I'm at least gonna let you have this victory. But yeah, the spooky, ominous tower in the background is such a good set piece as well.
And
here's our round out city. Our enslaved, mind-controlled people have built this monstrosity out of the city.
And if you weren't really sold that Xenos was evil, which I don't know how you weren't by this point, mind you,
a lot of people were not.
He used his own father's body parts to make the primal that made the towers.
Yep. He chopped up his dad after murdering him and causing a civil war over his dad's death, and be like, All right, my dad's now multiple different primals controlling my towers. Get back. Also, you
And
can draw enough energy to wake up the Zodiac early.
and for anyone who played Final Fantasy X, it is the second appearance of Anima, and yeah.
Only this time, Anima was a dude.
Which I'm really surprised we
Yeah.
didn't get a hard version of that fight.
But similar story
Yeah.
to how Anima came to be.
Yeah.
Let's just say Final Fantasy villains are not good to their parents. Unless you're Sephiroth, apparently.
Pretty
I'm-
Sephiroth, you really love your mummy.
No, wait, Sephiroth still throws chunks of his mom at you to fight.
Yeah, let's not get into that because that's not the point here.
Okay, if you're a Final Fantasy villain, don't have kids. They're going to be worse than you. So, Zodiac was trapped on the moon.
Then we went to space.
Space. Went space. Gotta go space.
Sadly, we don't have many images of this, but one small stupid detail. See Aetheris, the planet in the background? That actually rotates in real time.
Mhm.
You can sit on the moon and watch the planet rotate. Who does that?
Our amazing devs, that's who.
Creative Studio 3.
You know,
That's who does
I
it.
would bet someone with a group probably tried to time that. It's like, okay, is it dark on your side of the world yet?
No.
How about
Yes.
now? Okay, yeah, okay. You probably just in it. You're probably just in line. So Udal is right about there.
Now,
Probably
to
not
be
accurate,
fair,
but-
though, if you play on the planet, they all share the same time. So no matter where you are on the world, it's always been the same sunny. So you can't actually go to like the far side of the world and be dark, and the other side be bright. But they decide to rotate the moon, on the planet on the moon. It's just so somebody definitely on the dev team did that in their own spare time, and then someone asked him after he did it, "Yeah, but how perhaps for Rothgar and Vera?" Oh shit! Instead. I can't. I still love this stupid detail. But yeah, we also get to meet. Well, on the moon starts my favorite part of Endwalker. All the Final Fantasy IV references.
We meet two people technically on the moon.
the Watcher, a giant, basically totally not Uatu the Watcher character, and the Leporids, aka what I wish Vieira or Lalafels were.
I wish a lot
I'd
of
play a
fells were.
Lalafell. I'd play a Lalafell hands down. Especially if that was their cheer sound.
It turns out Hyland put the Lalafell here to make the moon into a spaceship.
Yep. Which also made me immediately think of Shadow Planet or Shadow Wars, if you guys remember that TV show,
Yeah.
which was also made by the wonderful team that made Reboot and Beast Wars.
So as we find out, Hyland was in contact with Charlene to make this entire plan for Charlene to make
Yep.
the ship to get them to the moon.
So that the moon could then be used as a giant spaceship to house more people and just fly away.
And I love that.
So I'm just. My only thought is just someone right-clicking on the planet of the moon, go fuck this shit out of it, and then drag it away from the planet.
And I just love the fact that inside the moon somewhere is basically just a bunch of 3D printers
Yep, just printing out rabbits.
and houses.
And probably the best forest we're ever going to see in this game, despite the fact that these two disagree with me.
I do.
I always will.
You two are weird. You two are weird. So you should agree with me. You have just as many allergies as I do.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
have as
doing
many
it.
allergies as you guys do, but
do it
I
just to
want
spite
nature.
you.
I don't want fake trees.
I do it just to
I
spite
want
you.
I want fake trees. But yeah, the moon is just a Final Fantasy IV reference, and thank God.
And just in case anybody's wondering, this is going to be a really safe plan. Yeah, Zodiac's in prison on the moon too, so we're going to take him along for the
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah. I have no idea what their intention was with Zodiac the entire time. Were they just gonna like dump him out on the way out? Or were they gonna try and melt him down for fuel?
No, I
Because
can
we could've
see
done
it's Fantiani walking over. What are your intentions with my Zodiac?
Ah.
I'm just
Nothing.
curious. I'm just curious. Were they gonna...
or was there some other plan of just leaving him there with a giant sticker saying "Do not touch"?
Danger! Do not touch.
'Cause that's
I'm now inclined to touch.
like that's just
there's
my
an evil
que-
monster.
Like that's just
Ooh,
my
I'm
It's
concern.
worried.
just do not touch.
That was just my huge concern. Like, okay, so we're going to leave on the moon and leave all this behind, but let's take one of the most dangerous primals in existence ever with us.
Don't go in there. There's a monster. I don't know. I now want to see. I mean, don't go in there. It's where we keep the prunes. Ew, no. Wow, that actually worked. Okay, just write prunes on the door.
But other than that, there is a crashed Allegan ship on the moon as well, which is kind of interesting.
It's called Heimdall.
But
Yeah. Anyway,
let's move on and talk about some of the dungeons.
shit's on fire, yo.
Yeah.
This is the first dungeon where the end of the world starts, and boss. Okay, boss 2 is probably the best boss design they've ever had in this in dungeons. It's an elephant's head with spiky legs and another head coming out of the back of it.
And
that is someone's nightmare fuel.
And what I really like about this dungeon, it demonstrates how the end was coming by removing all the ether and soul and pretty much out of the body, and the body just warps into an empty shell that's a monster.
Yep.
Because if there's no ether or soul, there's nothing to pretty much rebirth or continue the cycle.
And the worst part about this is you can turn into these monsters if the climates are right, and you go completely panicky. So if you give in to despair, have a panic attack, get overly negative emotions, you might lose yourself and be a giant monster and eat some kid.
And that just continues to cycle because that person you ate had family and they could lose themselves, and so on, and continue, and it can happen so fast and widespread.
The skybox to this dungeon is a storm of moving what they call blasphemies in the sky. The term blasphemy or terminus beast gets thrown around, which honestly, terminus beast is a fantastic name for a monster that's the end of the world. Like, no joke. Like blasphemy. Oh, that's pretty scary. Terminus beast. No, it's perfect. Yeah. World is doomed.
Like they set up the
I love hate it.
The terminology they set up for everything and the way they explain it and show you in cases is phenomenal.
Yep.
And
while a lot of Terminus beasts are just reskins like they always do, the unique models where they decide to put mouths where mouths should not be.
Yeah. One of the ways that they show you and not tell you, well, they also can't tell you, is with the Estola in this dungeon.
Yeah, if you take her with you, her reactions are very strange. And then at the end of the dungeon, if you haven't figured out from her reactions, she flat out tells you, there's nothing to my aether sight. I'm seeing like black holes. I've been shooting at nothing. Like if nothing moves in front of me, that's what I've been sending spells at, because I don't see the terminus piece.
Because
they're dead to me.
As a lot of people
they're
remember,
not just dead, they're gone. There's no soul. There's nothing.
Because as a lot of people remember from previous expansions, she pretty much lost her sight. You can only see things in like an ether form.
Yeah, she magically can see the world. She sees the denseness of magic, and everything in this reality is made of magic. Aether is both physical and metaphysical existence. It's both atoms and energy.
But the detail that I like is that since these are no ether in these things, they're technically like a black spot where there should be light, and the light is around them. So she just aims for black spots. So while she's technically blind to them, in a sense, she can still see them.
But it also makes her fucking terrified because nothing can move unless it's aether. That's not scientifically possible. What's going on? Oh God! So basically, you still got to see antimatter up front personal.
But I'm just saying, like that's the ingenuity of when with their world that they make. It's just brilliant to me. Like this is a really great case.
In the previous expansion, we just we cured tempering, which was just corrupted aether. You know, people are safe now. We have a cure for when you turn into a monster. Oh, we don't have a cure for being made into antimatter.
Well, I guess no one's safe. Well, I guess we know what's next in the chalkboard.
Yeah, we just went from no one's safe, aha, we've made everyone safe, to oh shit, no one's safe, and it's even worse.
Yeah.
Escalation. This is inside one of the towers. This is, again, another Final Fantasy IV version Tower of
I'm just
God.
gonna say this: despite me being acrophobic, I love the design of this place.
Despite me being insectophobic, this place reminds me of centipedes, but it's still fucking awesome.
I just think it's badass.
Because
Yeah.
one of the horrible
Now,
things is you can see the victims in the pillars as they're being held prisoner.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Now, we were worried that we were going to have to go through every one of these towers. No, we just went through one and hand waved the others. Thank fuck. I would have hated going through this tower multiple times.
Yeah, they
You know,
kinda...
I like doing it for a dungeon run, but if we had to do it multiple times for the story, it would have gotten old extremely fast.
Yeah.
But they set these up, made them honest enough, made us go through one, made us see them making fake primals or lunar primals, and seeing all the people stuck in walls and the monstrosities it made the Garlean people into. And yeah, once was enough. Thank you. This was do not want. Thank you.
Yeah. Like
Again, Endwalker got to be as dark as it fucking wanted.
I do think the regular primals look better, but the idea of a kind of corrupted primal that can make and control on whims because of the power sources they have was a fascinating idea.
I kind of wish we did more with them, but is what it is.
Yeah.
This one got us to fight the Mega Sister, which is a Final Fantasy IV and 10 reference. So that was fun.
And then we also had Lunar Bahamut as a nice little fight.
But that was Shadowbringer, so.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was just a nice example, though.
Yeah. Anyway,
I just like this scene.
this is just the Scions taking care of us, and I fucking love that they decide to put a grounded, down to earth. Is the Warrior of Light eating right? And everyone brings the Warrior of Light lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And it really
And it's just cute. Also, we get to see Crow with her hood on. She's adorable.
It also kind of shows how well they've come up graphically because they actually had them actually eat while they're talking to us.
Yes. Some people complain that they spent too much time graphically creating the food in this game, which... What?
Screw you.
Shut up.
I want my food graphically designed.
Yes. And we get... This is just after shit goes kind of... Not quite foobar yet, but it's about to. We've had some downtime. We've had some bad moments. We've had some up times. But the Scions decide to just take a little break. And it's a cute scene. We get to find out that Alice doesn't like pickles on her burger, and she gives him the gras. And he's just like, where did this pickle come from? Where did this pickle... I'm going to eat it anyway.
Sometimes it's hard to tell where the cat ends and gras starts.
I know, right?
Like, if I throw a piece of cheese on his face, will he completely freeze up?
Yeah. We also get to tease them, too, because they basically burst into your room against your will with food. So you could be like, at one point, there's like, this is my room, right? You guys have to go so I can sleep. Or I think you'd ask for more. We're like, we bought everything.
Like, it just shows that despite all...
The Scions are like how I am a friend to someone. If you live near me, I'm bringing you food. Which upsets me because I've never been able to drop off food to you two. I need to do it. I just need to show up one day with brown takeout bags. I'm just like, here, have some burgers.
I'm just going to show up with boxes of pizzas.
I wouldn't say no, though.
But, hi, Zodiac!
Yeah, this is basically right after fighting Zodiac, that cutscene happens. And,
see, here's one interesting thing that I love about the Zodiac that they did. The Zodiac that we fight is still incomplete because the other worlds weren't reabsorbed into the source. So the missing...
So those circles pieces are represented by those circles, and it's also a really good fight. I found this out, though. Somebody figured out the lyrics to the boss song. There's no lyrics to the boss song. It's just Soken having people chant, but the lyrics actually sound like real lyrics.
I remember hearing about that. I think you would have told me first.
I might have told you that, but one of the lines is Zodiac the beauty, Zodiac the darkness, and it's just literally just chanting, but you literally hear them say Zodiac.
Now, what you might notice at first is this very tribal-like mask on Zodiac.
It's part of a seal.
Yeah, yes, and later on,
Van Daniel basically hijacked a god.
Yeah.
The original plan was for Xenos to eat Zodiac and become even more powerful. But Fandano decided, you know what? I want to end the world. Yoink!
I want to do it. It's me. It's my turn to push the button.
Basically, he's either going to kill you and doom the world, or you're going to kill him and doom the world. He wins regardless.
Yeah, because Zodiark, one of the first things Zodiark did was change the laws of the world so they were unaffected by the end of days. And
yeah, that was not like a one and done. No, I changed it and I'm maintaining the change.
Mm-hmm. So I was actually watching a streamer funny the story is I was actually watching a streamer when he was going through this, and he just got back to explain what happened. I was like, yeah, so remember when I went to the moon to save the world? That kind of went sideways.
So good news, I saved the world. Bad news, you doom. Who dis?
That feels like it should be a ringtone for us. New Doom, who this?
Are you Victor Von Doom or the Doom guy? Because that might be an improvement. Oh, Gurf, thank fuck.
But what I did like is like before Fandango, mask. After Fandango, no mask.
Yep.
And
all of creation, back to my will.
I do love Zodiark's design. I would have loved to have seen him complete.
Oh, by the way, this amazing, immaculate end boss is the level 83 boss fight, and everyone's like, what happens next?
Yeah,
Wait, already?
We were confused by
Already?
this. We thought something else was going to happen. He was going to leave and escape.
Yeah. Everyone had their own theory, like, oh, he's going to free Zodiark, and we're going to have a round one, or this is not actually a Zodiark fight. Oh, okay, this is a Zodiark fight. What's going on? Okay, we're going to lose this fight. We're going to win this fight, but we're going to technically lose this. It's over. We've waited 10 years to fight this guy, and we fight him at 83.
By the way, spoilers, end of the world's coming. Wait, we thought this was the end of the world. No, this was the semi-end of the world. Now we're going to the actual end of the world. Fuck.
Yeah, the immediate cutscene of when the end of the world starts. You see the world coded in red, you get static, and you hear a voice just taunting you, and then back to normal, you're like, did anyone else experience that or just me?
But that almost felt like the start of the next expansion at that point.
Exactly. Like we had just been to Charlian, been to Thavnir, been to Garlemald, and fought an endgame boss. And we're only 83. That's 3 levels into this expansion. What the fuck? This could have been an entire expansion already. Now, part of this, I feel like the dev team was done with Zodiark. They didn't want to deal with it anymore, so let's get them out of the way first. And as soon as they were done, they were allowed to do whatever the fuck they wanted. And
I also feel like they, when they knew that, like, okay, let's troll them. This is going to be the ultimate troll part.
Yoshi P basically walked in on the storyboard and go, "Here's where we troll them."
And it was phenomenal trolling. I gotta hand it to him on that one.
Oh yeah, beautiful. No
By
notes.
the way, so killing a dark god wasn't enough. Let's kill the light god.
Let's kill mommy.
Mom.
So yeah, with her main job of keeping Zodiark at bay over, she has no reason to really exist. And a primal existing is just naturally bad for reality because they have no choice but to absorb ether.
Mm-hmm.
She's been doing a somewhat good job of making a giant crystal behind her, the mother crystal. Clive is just having a conniption fit from just saying that. Anyway.
So, interesting thing, if you remember back in Shadowbringers, Zodiark had kind of a heart counterpart to kind of go out in the world and do his bidding.
Yeah, much like how Shiva and Thornton work as well. This is just a person made into a god. This is Vanat made into Hydaelyn. And while she's not into tempering, she will, like I said, corrupt the world by eating too much ether. So as a final test to, if you can defeat me, you are able to save the world and fight the Endsinger. But if you can't beat me, you must leave this world. You must flee and never look back, my children. Show me you can fly on your own. Show me you don't need me to hold your hand. You don't need me behind the bicycle holding you up. Your training wheels are off. Can you ride on your own? Or will you crash into that dumpster and disappoint me? And what I love about this is she gives every scion a little speech and explains, you found the meaning to life in your own way. Thancred, you found the meaning in life in being a father figure. Yustola, you found the meaning in life in researching the world and understanding it. You want to know more. That's your reason for going. Graha, Albino, Alex, she gives everyone a speech, and she just gives us a really tiny one. You like adventuring. And she ain't wrong.
No, that's the whole point of this. That's what
Yeah.
what this whole thing started.
I see you as them. I see you. You're still you as them. Thanks.
Because the funny thing is, during the entire time when we usually come across a giant fight, as Azem, we summoned people to help us. That was Azem's ancient ability to call upon friends and allies.
This is the only only fight so far you can do it with the Scions. You can take the Scions on dungeons, but you can't take them on 8-man bosses. This one you can, and it's glorious. It is one of my favorite fights, and the dev team had so much fun with this fight. Y'shtola is so good at dodging attacks because she can see it. Raha is going to be the main tank usually, and I like that one about him. Estinian is shit at dodging. But he does the most.
Fire, Estinian.
But he does the most damage, hands down. He does the most damage. But
and Alice is just watching that bar fill up so that you can limit break.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the way that's done up, Y'shtola is going to be DPS. Alice is going to be DPS. Estinian is DPS. We have 2 tanks. But what if you're a tank? What if you're a DPS? They've managed, so example, Urianger is either a healer, or if you are playing a healer, he goes DPS. If you're playing tank, Graha goes DPS. I like that. If you go DPS, Graha goes tank. It's just, they managed to make the team balanced. Sure, it ends up being a little on the magic side, because if you make Graha DPS, he's a black mage, Y'shtola's a black mage, and Alisay's a red mage, and Estinian's the only physical DPS. So your party's nicely balanced. It's too magic heavy, but it's still a victory.
At least you can't run out of Ether down here.
Yeah, no. It's also a really good fight, and it's really... She basically at one point tries to end the world again in terms of mechanics. She does her Sundering attack on you, but you're able to survive it some fucking how.
Piece of advice, when you do this fight, wear your goddamn sunglasses.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's honestly the only reason why I've done it once.
Yeah. Now, what I do also like, well, at one point we didn't talk about this, but we do talk about it. We go and meet Vana in the past, and we have a little scrape with her because she wants to test us. She brings back mechanics for her solo fight into this fight, and I love it. We barely talked about the task traveling, but that could be 2 hours on its own.
What I also like is that it's not outside of her nature to want to challenge herself with a spar. So even just doing this challenge is still huge to her nature. So
also it's just a pretty arena.
Yeah. By the way, remember how I said something was causing the end of the world? Meet the
Bird
singer.
lady. All those mediums we talked about conjoined together to form this.
Yeah.
And what an end boss. What an end boss.
No, I couldn't find proper images for this that I was satisfied with, so I left them out. But when you first come to pretty much the edge of the universe, as it pretty much is, we didn't notice it until I think CK pointed it out. But when you look straight up, you pretty much like see an egg of some sort.
Oh yeah, he did point that out.
And then we're
inside that egg.
Yeah, and then we're climbing towards it, and right at the end, the egg cracks open, of course.
Yeah. So we can't do this part of the game justice.
No.
How the Scions prove the reason for living is their reasons for living. How immaculate the song becomes, how important each character's progression is. What we can do is tell you about how the fuck Xeno steals the goddamn show some fucking how. Is this your prey? Why is it not dead? I thought you were beyond something banal as sadness.
I will bring up one scene from this area. It's right before the Endsinger fight. Because it's such a simple thing you start off with. You get a flower that pretty much reacts to
the Elpis flower.
Yes.
An Intellikia. It can reflect emotions it senses. If you're happy or the world is happy, it's bright yellow.
And here's the thing.
Xian was promised one of these flowers, but she came back with the answer Hermes wanted.
Well, here's the other thing. It also explains what powers limit breaks.
No, it does not. That's actually been debunked.
Really?
Yep. No, limit breaks are Aether based. We only do one limit break that's ever Dynamis based.
Okay, I misremembered. My mistake.
No, you don't misremember. The game does a poor job explaining it. If you read the lore books, you figure that out.
I must have missed that. I've got never misread it.
Yeah, sorry. There's a lore channel I watch where he's sick and tired of having to explain that. And it's
That's fair. If I remember something wrong, I'm willing to admit they're
but
wrong.
yeah. Anyway,
But
the
Dynamis,
immaculate of this fight, Dynamis is the emotional energy. It's the only thing that's not detectable by Aether, besides anti-Aether, I guess.
It's supposedly
Anyway,
hard to control, but has more of a punch to it.
No, there's more of it. Aether is stronger.
Oh, well, either way,
yeah. It basically Dynamis is antimatter. Technically, our universe is more matter than antimatter. They can't exist in the same place. When there's more antimatter, it takes over matter. Vice versa. Regardless, sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's right. Right before the fight with the End Singer, we used the flower to represent that the world is not as destitute as she claims it is. That there is still hope.
She is full of as much lack of hope because it can only bloom around emotions. Yep. But basically what we did is we met one Meteon that did not leave with the hive mind. She was the communication base. We bonded with her. We basically turned one piece of the hive mind into its own person, while the rest of the hive mind decided, no, fuck you. Death is still the only thing that matters.
Yep.
May we please be friends?
But yeah, the reason why Xeno steals the fucking show is the Scions, we have to rescue them because... Oh, hello, Barky Dog. The Scions get sent away because things get too dangerous for them, because we're the Warrior of Light. We always send them away. We should stop doing that. They're really
this
useful.
was beyond primals, really.
Yeah, so Xenos basically ate the remainder of the Mother Crystal, turned back into Shinryu, who is still my favorite final boss we've ever had, even though I do not like Xenos. Smashes his way into this reality, and then we ride a motherfucking dragon chasing down this bird lady, and that's the end boss. We summoned 7 people to help us fight a bird on the back of a dragon.
And I love this fight because
I'm sorry, that I think I just described every Dragon Force song ever.
Pretty much. And once you get her down to, I think, like 25%, she decides, yeah, I'm just going to end you. And through the power of Dynamis,
our friends light the way, and then they give us a speech, which is another Final Fantasy IV fucking reference, which, Also, I love how Y'shtola and Thancred and Urianger are doing their original prayers from A Realm Reborn.
And you get to wreck her shit.
Yeah, you find out the boss song is your boss song, not hers. And I love how she has a freak out. Like, what the? You're not dead. You just died already.
I just remember when we were doing this ourselves, the people that had done it before that were with us were telling, don't freak out. This is supposed to happen. Then after it all goes, just enjoy the beatdown.
Yeah,
because
I've been there with so many newbies, and we've played up the fact, oh no, we didn't do it, and then we hear the Scions go, light the way, and then everyone in chat says, get out, guys, we got a second wind, come on. One girl I know just kept typing, do it for Grant.
Was that you, Nem?
Maybe.
You were playing a Lalamo Paladin?
Maybe
I know she's a better tank than she lets on.
Not.
But yeah, it's so good. This is how you end a game. And they didn't end the game, they just kept on going.
And I just love the fact that no one in our group expected to see Xenos there. Much less Shinryu.
No. I just love it. It's so, like, I do not like Xenos, but he has so many good scenes.
And I'm not sure, but this also felt like jumping the shark moment, but it's one of those ones that I love.
We didn't jump the shark, we jumped onto the shark while it jumped over a flaming barrel.
Yeah, that sounds more appropriate. But much like any expansion, we did get 2 new jobs. We'll talk about M's favorite first.
Gundam, ikimasu! It literally is a reference to the new Gundam. Because Yoshi P, like myself, is a Gundam fan. It's our new healer job, the Sage. It's just fun.
I just
You
like,
heal by hurting your enemies.
yeah, that was one of the best twists to this for a heal that I could have brought in was I attack you, I heal a little bit to the tank. Not enough to say this should be fully sustainable, but enough to help you here and there.
Yep.
Especially when you add shields into the mix.
Yep, you put shields on people, you end up putting a lot of regens on people, you buff defenses, all while you're encouraged to do as maximum damage as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Sage has rapidly become one of the most played jobs in the game. It's very rare that I ever do any content when there's not a Sage, because he's gonna be fucking bloodthirsty.
But are they as bloodthirsty as the white mages? Because they need blood for the blood lily.
The most common, like, from what I understand, powerhouse jobs to take, you take an Astro and a Sage. Huh. The Astro ends up buffing everyone's damage, and the Sage just keeps shooting, and they get buffed as well because they're encouraged to keep attacking. So that's what I believe the meta is. I usually don't care for meta, but as I do like a Sage, and I do like getting buffed while I'm a Sage, I will go with this meta. Because I'm shooting lasers!
The Sage story is a little cliched in places. Not the entire
not
thing,
really
but
cliched, it's just not really amazing.
Yeah. But
it's good. It does its job for the job, but honestly, it's the job I ended up being a Sage for almost all of Endwalker. Because we had a 4-man group, we needed a healer, and fuck you guys, I wanted lasers.
That is so what I can hear you saying when you go.
I'm pretty sure I did say that. Didn't I say that?
I probably did.
You said that.
Good times.
But next we'll talk about the job Soul ended up loving the most. Reaper. A 100% unique job to 14, and it's stupid fun.
Oh my god, it is.
It's not my favorite job, and the next job coming up for Dontrell beats it in terms of DPS, but I love it. I love the aesthetic. I love scythes.
I love Void Scent.
Spooky slice.
The spooky slice.
Got some spice.
The spooky slice.
Was my soul the surprise?
The spooky slice.
The fun thing here is while we dealt with some things Void Scent, this really delves more into it a little bit.
This is making a fucking deal with the devil and being like, there are no downsides to this. And there weren't.
Pretty much. But I think part of that is because we're the Warrior of Light and we do what we want.
Yeah, we cheat. I mean, the actual story is finding out when someone does do stupid with Void Scent.
Why'd you guys both look at me when you said that?
But yeah, it's definitely the better two of the job stories.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I still want more job stories.
Yep.
Yeah, I do, but I'm also concerned that they try and go too far with it. It will wind up more like Sage, where it's more meh than anything. So
I don't care. I still want. I want to find out who made my automaton queen. Was it me or the Machias Guild?
Yes.
How did we learn Phoenix?
Yeah.
How did we learn to make Frey real?
What you mean? You guys can see him too?
Poke. Yes, unfortunately.
I thought I was just crazy. Woohoo! I'm not crazy.
In the upcoming expansion, how are we going to fuse with our fairy to become a super scholar?
I just thought that we could do that naturally.
Super scholar. Is it the legendary Super Swine? But yeah, much like every other expansion, there was a storyline afterwards before Donjon. Usually, for like Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, the post 0.0 story is 3 chapters of closing up the expansion, 2 chapters of next time on Dragon Ball Z. No, for Endwalker, they're like, no, the story of Endwalker is done. Here are 5 chapters of a mini arc. And the Void arc. No, not the dungeon Void arc, the Void arc storyline. where we get to travel to the 13th, the fucked up world, and see how fucked up it is.
It is
All
pretty
in the
fucked up.
all in the hopes of saving a dragon.
Yep.
I'll do
By the
anything to save a dragon.
By the way, did I mention Endwalker likes its Final Fantasy IV references?
I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, if you know who this character is, yeah, he's the main antagonist of 4 patches, basically.
And we also made another character that was with your friend.
Yeah, we have. Oh yeah, Zero. Yeah, Xenos had his own void stint for the storyline, and we ended up befriending that one afterwards. It's free from Xenos. Kind of interesting. But honestly, a lot of people hate the storyline of 6.1 to 6.5.
Well, they're weird.
Well, they're wrong.
Because they were expecting it to be all hyping up Dawn Trail. Even though the dev team kept saying, no, it's its own story. We want to do something slightly different. We want to do a mini story. And for a mini story, it's actually not that mini. It's pretty good, in my opinion.
There's also one other piece of stuff that they add. Well, 2 things they added for this one. There was also the gods that were
Oh yes,
brought up.
Actual gods are the non-beast tribe worship, like Thaliak, Infa, Halone. Nam, are you sure you're not Halone?
I'm Halone! Ice Valkyrie, bitch!
Which was a fun storyline too.
And it also explains how,
some of them.
their changes and how they are what they are.
Yep. And there's also the Island Sanctuary, which is very hit and miss with people, which I understand that.
Yeah.
I just needed a good podcast to listen to in order to do that. Otherwise, I would have never done Island Sanctuary.
And we brought back...
Now I just use my island to farm for turquoise dye for them.
And we also
brought back... Do you need more dye?
Yes.
Okay.
I used L99 already. Just kidding.
And we brought in Hildebrand again, which is really controversial with some people.
Yeah, if you don't like Hildebrand, you're not our friend. Legit, Hildebrand is some of the best stuff. Now, if you don't care for the mandrivel weapons because there's no grind involved to them, that's fine. I understand people like grind, but don't get mad at the weapon and blame the storyline. Look, the storyline and the weapon are not connected.
I always wanted a dancing limb break that wasn't connected to dancer, that was an actual dance. I got that.
Yeah, Neb needs to do that soon. But luckily, when Dawn Trail comes out, Nem can just use Poetics to grab those weapons.
But real quick, before we end this, we are heading into Dawn Trail very soon by the end of this month. So I have a question I would pose to 2 of you.
The heavens we will ride right through the storm. For the shadows we will find. Gonna walk right to the end. Oh, sorry, the song's stuck in my head.
That's why I was waiting. What do you hope to get in Dawn Trail?
Viper.
I'm not talking about those already told us. I'm talking about what you're hoping that hasn't been revealed to us yet. Is there anything you want to see or do or
job stories for older jobs?
Great.
Seriously, what do I want? Most stuff that I've announced. There's things I want. Well, the first thing I want: hats for Viera and Rothgar. Seriously, what is your excuse? You're redoing the graphics. Redo those hats.
Because I know what I want. It's such a small thing, but it really means a lot to me in a sense. And that's small exploratory rewards. And that's not saying give me a reward for exposing the map or anything like that. But remember on the Siren Island, that little guy that we can trade items to and get 2 minions from?
Oh yeah, you always talk about that.
I want something more like that every once in a while in the areas. Just you explored all the way over here. Here's a small reward.
I'm fine with just Easter eggs. I don't like this example, but when we finish rebuilding Doma, there's so many Namazu to find. I like that. I just wish it wasn't Namazu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like the little Easter eggs that have been looking all over the place is I want to keep more of those, and every once in a while, you came over here that there's entirely no point to. Here's a little extra something.
the upcoming Beastmaster, I want a slight rework done to Chocobos so they feel more impactful when you have them in combat with you.
Yeah, because after
Yeah.
getting them to rank 20,
I don't want them to be like a replacement to an actual player, but there are certain times where they're your only reliability, and if you're not 100% active with your Chocobo, they die real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm
It
kind
is.
So
of
yeah, I would like at least more levels or at least more commands for them. Something. Like I feel like they're an abandoned and they really shouldn't be because well, like many things, you can get real attached to your Chocobo because you can dress them up.
Well, here's a question to you because the option for the glamour that would always be on the table. Would you want gear to actually give Chocobos added stats like more defense or more
No.
attack?
If there's no glamour option, no.
No,
If
say
there's glamour option,
glamour's
sure.
obviously on the table. I'm never going to take that away. If glamour's not on the table, don't do it. I'm saying like
Yeah, no, something to do with the Chocobos. Either more
Yeah.
levels or more ways of impacting their stats, or more ways of impacting how they fight with you. How about you, Nem? What do you want?
My only thing is I really want to go to this little island that Graha's from that he talked up while you were in
Mm,
Charlene with him, and I mean I
the
would be
dev,
happy if that's our Boja.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
I see it.
our exploratory is going to be an island, so it could be that. I think it's going to be the Bermuda Triangle, but I've been around before. But Corvo's would be cool to go to. The dev
Mm-hmm.
teams have said if we've talked about a place, you're going to go there. It may not be a big place you go to, but you will go there eventually, which is
Eventually, yeah.
fair. Which is fair, but we're greedy motherfuckers.
I'm just wondering how many sandwiches Graha's mom's going to try to feed them.
I mean, there are things we always want: more glamour plates, more glamour dressers, more things to do with retainers.
Mhm.
Obviously, more housing items and more space for housing items. Come on, that's not enough housing items.
I
Not
just,
enough housing items.
I just think it's
Especially
gonna.
in the yard. How do you? Okay, you have a huge plot, you get 20 items. You have a small plot, you get 20 items outside. What the? 20 is not enough for a small plot. What are you supposed to do with a large plot?
I just think it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
feel weird actually hitting level 100 instead of stopping at 99.
Not to me, but whatever.
Well, from a lot of MMOs, they stop at 99 for some odd reason.
Well, and Final
The,
Fantasy traditionally has been 99, but I kind of like that we're not stopping
yeah,
at 99.
the reason why that tradition started, Soul, was a hexadecimal code overflow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did not know that.
You could not write that much in some in-games hexadecimal. Basically, the way I understand hexadecimal code works is you could do 1 to 10 easily. That doesn't take up much space. 1 to 50 doesn't take up that much space, but 100 takes up a lot of space. In fact, it would be much cheaper to do 200 than it is 100, if
Huh.
I understand hexadecimal correctly. I'm probably badly explaining this, but the way hexadecimal code ramps up, it's weird.
Well,
That's
that's
why
something new.
if you ever basically the reason why Gen 1 Pokemon is so fucked up is hexadecimal code errors.
I believe that.
It's also why in Final Fantasy 1, the original, the intelligence stat wasn't coded. I'm not saying coded wrong. I mean, it literally wasn't coded because of a hexadecimal issue. So if your intelligence stat is raised in the original Final Fantasy, it actually does nothing.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about
That
that.
is why. Yeah, that is why the warrior, the fighter class, is the best class in Final Fantasy 1 because it actually has working stats. It's why also the thief is the worst job because luck is also poorly coded and intelligence isn't coded, and that's the two stats the ninja uses.
That explains
Mm-hmm.
so much about my first playthrough of that.
Yeah, yeah. Mine is coded completely correctly, so that's why white mages are so good.
4 white mages? It'll never work.
Have you ever seen the playthrough of one white mage? No one else in the party, just 3 corpses.
That sounds
Yeah,
like a terrible
gamers are
idea.
weird. It's a fun video to watch. I'll send it to you later. But yeah, we're all excited for Dontrell. Now, I have a question for you two.
Shoot.
Pretty sure I know the answer to this one for Nem, but which is your favorite expansion, you guys, we've had so far?
Now, are we just talking
Evans-
about the initial expansion, or are we including
No,
the?
include everything that is part of that expansion until the next expansion launches.
Okay. I just wanted to be clarify.
No. Answering that's a fair question to ask.
I'm gonna have to say, including the in between stuff, I want to have to go with Shadowbringers, or not Shadowbringers, Stormblood.
Like,
Yep.
that'll get you
Shadowbringer.
lynch mob. That'll get you lynch mob, Soul, but I'm glad you
That-
chose that.
That will get you lynch mob, but no, Shadowbringers.
I'm not surprised, Nem, and not surprised you guys. Heaven's Ward.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Nope.
For me, including the additional stuff, Shadowbringers only ended up being in third place. I like Endwalker slightly more than Shadowbringers, but Heaven's Ward still a fair bit ahead of both of them. Stormblood I end up liking a fair bit more than Realm Reborn. Realm Reborn is literally what I think the weakest part, but I do not think is as bad as people keep telling the internet it is.
Well, here's the
It's
thing.
not great.
A Realm
it's not like-
Reborn is kind of a tricky thing, because if you talk about the original one between A Realm Reborn and Heaven's Sword, God, that was a grind.
It's a grind, yeah. It's a grind, but you have to remember what a Realm Reborn in that era was.
Yeah.
It was literally trying to fix an impossible fix, and they somehow fucking did it. So, of course, it's going to be jank in places. It's going to be slow in places. It's not going to be as magical in places. It's doing it's basically heavy lifting so the other expansions can fly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to deny
Will
it's
I tell
goddamn
will I
grind
tell
from
people
hell.
it's a bit Will I tell people it's bad? No, I'll just tell it's a bit slow. It does get better, but there are plenty of good places in Realm Reborn. I'm not going to
Yep.
say skip it, never skip it.
For
There are
me,
lots of
the original expansion of Stormblood, while a good story, really didn't hold that much of a candle for a lot of it. It's when
Yeah,
it gets into the
I-
in-between stuff is where it really starts to shine for me.
like I agree, going 100%. For me, the first part of Stormblood is kind of worse than Realm Reborn, but when we get to the 0.1 stuff and to the 0.5, oh shit, yeah, give me more. Hook it up to my veins. That's the good shit. But the first
I will
part is
never-
just so bad for me. It loses so many points.
I will never make fun of Ardbert for just having one letter taken out of his name. I will always make fun of Ardbert for that. Always.
Yeah, no. That's one of the reasons why I love Shadowbringer so much is it does pull back from one of my favorite parts of Heaven's Ward. But in actuality, for me, it's the post game of Shadowbringers I don't care much for.
Huh.
As soon as we start dealing with Fan Daniel, I'm tuning out Shadowbringers, and I end up liking it. Endwalker, so what the fuck with my head? But it's for me, it definitely goes A Realm Reborn, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, Endwalker, Heaven's Ward. Do I think Dawn Trail will immediately be the best expansion ever? No. They are starting a whole new story. I am going to give it whole new expectations.
And that's what
We're
I appreciate about Dawn Trail is we finally done with the Asians.
Yep.
And if we said if they come up, it's through a memory or maybe a brief
But
conversation.
we are going to fight Asians again. But it better not be for any part of Dawn Trail.
Yeah, seriously,
Give it an expansion or two.
Yeah, it just needs to not die, but
Like when they come back, it actually being a surprise would be nice.
look, the most I want to deal with Asians is hearing about the ones that went off to the 13th that we never interacted with when we were dealing with Zero and Golbez.
Yeah, something like that. Like, oh shit, you guys are still around. Forgot about you. But I didn't forget my white aura site.
No.
But yeah, that's what I want. Like I said, it's fresh, it's new. I expect whole new things. I hope they do a bit of shakeup. Like, not every part of the gameplay feels exactly the same when it comes to the post stuff. But I also expect them to be a little bit in their comfort zone because they don't want to shake the boat too much.
Yeah, but other than
Because
some of
a lot of people did not like Endwalker, so maybe it would be best to play it a bit safe. Whatever comes after Dawn Trail really needs to be experimental, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, because this is where they can both kind of have a comfort zone and still experiment as well. Because now they're really stepping out of anything they had planned.
Yep, they literally no longer have to deal with anything written by the 1.0 team,
Mm-hmm.
which they work well inside those restraints. But I imagine the writing team must be is either panicking or having the time of their lives.
Or both.
Yep.
Maybe they just enjoy panicking.
I can't see Yoshi P letting anyone panic too long in his office. He'd be too worried about them.
Well, someone has to worry about him because they're probably like him. Don't worry about themselves.
To be fair, I don't think Christopher Koji Fox would interfere with their worrying. The troll of a man who puts Simpsons quotes and everything is probably egging them on for a LARP. And Sogan's probably watching them going, I could use their streams for a song.
Now just
inspire a
picturing
song, right?
Koji Fox with a Bart grin.
Yes, that's how I picture him constantly. But yeah, you're going to use those streams to inspire a song, right, Sogan? To inspire a song, right, Sogan? Anakin Skywalker smile. Like, we already know the music's going to be good because Soken's back on the lead design. He took a little bit of break. He took a little bit of break for Endwalker because he was largely writing 16's music. Just remember, he wrote both 16 and Shadowbringers while fighting cancer.
He has only mean to work through the pain.
Yeah, well, if I ever meet that man, I have to tell him how much his music means to me. Can't help through my depression points.
Well, I think we've pretty much reached the end of this.
So we walk to the end.
And I have a letter here for M. Let me see if I can find it. Here it's from a fan. M, do you know gods of death love apples?
No, I'm pretty sure they prefer noodles or chocolate. Yeah, that one guy definitely liked chocolate.
Well, we'll have to sort that out later. I'm pretty sure it doesn't mean anything. But in the meantime, I hope you folks have a good night or a good day, whatever time you're watching this.
Right to the end of the shadow.
Bye.